Pre-owned remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game. We are live from Bridgestone Arena, Preds and San Jose tonight, right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Also on ESPN Plus tonight, so we'll get into that. There are going to be some old papaws that are not happy at 7:30, but the wave of the future starts today with this new TV deal, which we'll get into. 102.5 The Game Preds broadcast brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. So I am reading Joe Buck's book, and I actually finished Joe Buck's book. And
how'd you like it?
I loved it. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, Joe Buck, he's going to be calling the World Series tonight. I mean, we all know Joe Buck. Joe Buck on the air kind of comes off as condescending, kind of comes off as conceited, kind of comes off as elitist. He even knows this. He talks about it in his book all the time. But the real guy, Joe Buck, actually seems like a pretty relatable and cool guy. But there's something that Joe Buck got tatted on his bicep that he talks about in the book. And he has two words. It's, so what? And it's because for years, Joe Buck was doing national games at like my age. Was when he started doing like the number one on Fox, the number one baseball, and he would get criticized a lot, and it would bother him. And he says in the book that if 5 guys came up to him, and one guy said, Buck, you're the man, one guy said, Buck, you're the best, one guy said, great call last night, one guy said, awesome job, the other one goes, you suck, he'd listen to the 5th guy. And so finally he had to tell himself, so what? So I'm driving home from the game on Sunday. And I tweet out, because I see the Ravens, last week's number 1 team in the AFC, losing. That's a division loss. So they can be 5-2. Then I know that the Chargers didn't play. So the 4-2 Chargers are not ahead of the 5-3 Titans. Or 5-2 Titans. And obviously the Titans are ahead of Buffalo. So I'm like, Titans are going to be the number 1 team in the AFC. That the number 1 team, if the playoffs started today, they're going to be the number 1 team. So I'm driving. I'm stopped. And I tweet out, Titans are going to be the number 1 team in the AFC. And I got bombarded from people that were like, no, it's not, idiot. It's going to be Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to be the number 1 seed. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't know who Cincinnati's losses were. So Cincinnati's the number 1 seed. But guess what? I don't really care about the people that get mad on Twitter, just like Joe Buck. Cincinnati's the number 1 seed. Tennessee is a number 2 right now in the AFC. And I'll be honest with you. We spent all summer talking about the tiers of the AFC. Hey, Kansas City's up here. Buffalo might be with them. Then there's the Ravens, the Browns, the Titans, the Colts. Then the Colts had all their injuries, so we took the Colts out. Then we talked about the Chargers, and we said, okay, let's go ahead and put the Chargers in there, so add them to the mix. Then we saw Pittsburgh beat Buffalo week 1, so let's start talking about Pittsburgh again. We always wondered, what about New England? We know, probably don't have to worry about them. Now we got the Bengals, so throw them in there. The Browns are hurt, and they've got issues, so maybe take them out. And Kansas City looks awful, so certainly we dropped them from the 1st tier to the 2nd tier. I'm ready to drop them to the 3rd tier where the Colts and the Raiders and the Steelers I'm ready to drop them there, for right now, Kansas City. And they might get out of it, but they got to play their way out of it. So I'm not giving Kansas City. Right now, the AFC is wide open. And I know Cincinnati beat Baltimore. And I know everybody on TV is talking about Cincinnati. And, hey, is Cincinnati the team to beat in the AFC? Is Cincinnati this? Is Cincinnati that? They're the flavor of the week. Look at Cincinnati's schedule. they're going to lose another game. I'm not saying Cincinnati's not for real. I'm not saying Cincinnati's not going to win that division. I'm not saying Cincinnati's not going to make the playoffs. But they're the flavor of the week. There are two teams in the AFC I feel pretty comfortable about that are going to win their division. The Titans are going to decide on Sunday if they're going to win the division or not. Because if they beat Indianapolis, they will win this division. Now, my dad yesterday said that he already knows for a fact in his heart Titans are going to lose on Sunday. And I think there's probably a lot of Titan fans who feel that way because prosperity has never been a good thing for the Tennessee Titans. But the Titans are probably going to win their division. And the Buffalo Bills are definitely going to win their division. So how do you rank the AFC teams? And let's be honest about something, at least as far as I'm concerned, with the AFC and how you rank it. You can't, this is not college football. College football is completely subjective. In fact, there is a 14-person committee that decides who the 4 best teams are. And there is no criteria in which decides what makes one team better than another. We used to say that it was, hey, this team won, Ohio State in 2014 won their conference championship game. The Big 10 didn't have, the Big 12 didn't have one, so TCU and Baylor didn't play one. So we thought, well, that's what matters. And then it didn't. Well, you got to win your division in college football, but then Alabama didn't in 2018. They went to the championship game and won it. Even last week, now again, this isn't the committee's rankings, but the AP rankings, totally subjective. Oklahoma has not lost a game yet. And guess what? Alabama's ahead of them. Why? Because everybody who flips on the TV knows Oklahoma sucks. That's why. And so this is not college football. And it's also not college football from the standpoint that one win will sink you. So if you want to say today that the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC, and you want to rank your tiers, and you want to say Buffalo number 1, then you got the Titans, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Chargers, and maybe you want to throw the Raiders in there. I don't know. This is yours. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. And it is going to change week to week. The Titans barely made the playoffs in 2019. They ended up in the AFC Championship game. The Buccaneers did not get a home game last year in the playoffs until they played in the Super Bowl. That was it for them. So here's how I think right now the AFC sits. I think there is one tier at the top, and I think it is Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, the Chargers, and the Titans. That's it. I know Tennessee beat Buffalo, Baltimore got beat by Cincinnati, Baltimore annihilated the Chargers. I know. But just because 2 weeks ago Baltimore housed the Chargers does not mean that if they were to play again later in the season, you're going to get the same result. I think those are the best teams in the conference, and I am still weary of putting Cincinnati in that top level. I do think now people are going to take Cincinnati seriously. They've got a tough schedule. I think that's one thing. But I don't think like there was last year or even coming into this season where there was one team at the very, very top. Cross your arms. It's them. I don't think there's a single team in the AFC right now that can lay claim to being the best team. Every team in the AFC, there is a, hey, are they the best team? Yeah, but we didn't feel that way about Kansas City last year. 2 years ago, Baltimore and Kansas City and New England, they were in a class of their own. New England fell apart at the end of the year. Baltimore was 14-2 and hadn't trailed in a game since like October until they got into the playoffs and played the Titans in the divisional round. And Kansas City had been really good the year before and was really good once Patrick Mahomes came back from injury in 2019. There is not a team that has broken away from the pack. And the two teams that are most likely to do so are the Bills and the Titans, because the Bills play in a division that includes the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins, two horrific teams and one not-so-good team, and they've got one game left against a team that's got a winning record. The Titans, meanwhile, play in a below-average division, terrible Houston, horrific Jacksonville, and Indianapolis, who outside of having Jimmy Garoppolo play essentially for their team on Sunday night, is all but in the grave. So the Titans play two winning teams the rest of the way. the Rams in 2 weeks, and the New Orleans Saints. And I don't know what you all thought about the New Orleans Saints last night, but I didn't think they were very good. In fact, I don't think they're very good. So really, one good team left on the schedule for the Titans. Now, I know everyone's going to say that the Titans are prone to screwing things up. But I also wonder how we're supposed to rank them. Because, again, I'm telling you, the AFC right now, you want to make a case for Baltimore, make a case for Baltimore. Want to make a case for Cincinnati, make a case for Cincinnati. I mean, I'm going to say this. Baltimore, when I watched Baltimore play, I saw them screw up the game against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. I watched them screw up the game and find a way to win against the Colts, in large part because the Colts screwed up every time that Baltimore screwed up to kind of make it even. And then I watched them play Kansas City, in which they played a pretty good game, but now I think we all have to question any win over Kansas City. So each team's got a question mark. And I can't tell you right now, I can't tell you Chargers, Bills, I can't tell you. So I don't know. How do you rank it? And then when I ask how you rank it, my other question is, are we ranking it by who we think will be there at the end? Or are we ranking it by who do we think are the best teams today in the AFC? Because, again, I think you could make a valid case that Buffalo is going to walk to the number 1 seed. And this year, the road is so important. Let's say that the division winners are Tennessee, Buffalo, Baltimore, and the Chargers. Because I can't right now say Cincinnati's going to win their division. They might, but I have a hard time getting there. So Cincinnati's the 5th seed. Let's say, the Raiders, and who else do we want to put in the playoffs this year? Cleveland.
Sure.
So now you get an injured Cleveland team with Baker Mayfield, maybe can play, maybe he's got to have surgery out for the year. Or the Raiders, if you finish 2nd or 3rd. You finish 4th, you get the Bengals. I don't want the Bengals. You finish 1st, you don't get any of those 3 teams. They get a week to play somebody else. Maybe one of those teams wins. You're at home the whole way, and maybe you get to play the Raiders in the first round of the playoffs. You beat the Raiders, okay? Now you got to win one more game to get to the Super Bowl. What if, for example, the Bengals win their first game, and then they win their second game, and now you're playing the Bengals for a trip to the AFC Championship game. Your path to the Super Bowl can be the Raiders and the Bengals, or the Raiders and the Steelers, or that Chiefs with that awful defense, and you name it. 2 years ago, Kansas City got to the Super Bowl in large part when they won it, in large part because the teams that they were supposed to originally face, in order, Tennessee, at New England, at Baltimore, would have been a lot tougher than what they had, which was bye week at home versus the Texans, at home versus the Titans. So if we're trying to rank them, do we start ranking them by how we expect them to finish in the AFC, or are we ranking them by who's the best? Because I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. But I'm not convinced right now the Buffalo Bills are the best. Though if I had to put my money on it, I probably would put the Bills. So then that's the question that I have for kind of the texters, the callers, 615-737-1025, which is now that we've got essentially a month and a half of football, this is not September anymore. We're a week 1 blowout loss. Hey, look, Steelers beat the Bills. Guys, it's September. It's week 1. It's not that anymore. We know who's bad. We know who's good. We know who the teams in the middle are, and there's not as many teams in the middle as I thought there would be. Normally, there's a lot more of those 8-8-ish type teams. This year, it feels a lot like the haves and the have-nots. Like watching that Raider-Eagle game yesterday, the Raiders, and I don't think the Raiders are all that good, but the Raiders are over here at, 3 or 5-2 or whatever, and the Eagles are terrible. So how should we rank the AFC right now? Should we rank it in the tiers? Are there tiers? And are we doing this by who the best team is, or are we doing this by who we think is most likely to get to the Super Bowl?
Well, it's tough to say who is most likely to get to the Super Bowl because the Bengals right now are sitting pretty at the top spot in the AFC, but the rest of their schedule looks like Browns twice, Raiders, Chargers, Ravens, Chiefs. That's an incredibly difficult road ahead. And
that's all like compared to the Bills.
Compared to the Bills, who I wrote down the toughest games on the rest of their schedule are the Saints and the Bucs. So they may drop that Bucks game, but I mean, the rest of their schedule is incredibly easy. And then, the Ravens have the Browns twice. They have the Packers, the Rams, the Chargers have the Vikings, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Raiders. The Bengals very much so have the most difficult road ahead of them. So we could say, yeah, the Bengals have the top seed in the AFC. They'd be most likely to go to the Super Bowl. But there have been way too many weird things that have happened so far in this season for me to be able to confidently predict that. To me right now, the Bills are looking like the best team.
So are you going to rank it like tier-wise? Are you going to rank it like who do you think the best is? Or are you ranking it like who is the most likely to get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC?
For me right now, if I have to pick one team to most likely to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, I'm going to choose the Bills.
It has
to be Buffalo. And I know that Tennessee beat Buffalo. I know that. But every Super Bowl winning team is going to have losses on their schedule. If we're going to break it up into tiers, I would say that probably Buffalo is in a tier by itself right now. And then you're looking in that tier 2, and I'm seeing, Baltimore, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Raiders maybe. I don't even know if I would put them up in that second slot. Even though I know they're in the top 3 in the AFC right now, I think I would put the Bengals, the Titans, and the Ravens in a tier of their own.
So I still think that right now everybody's at the top. I think it's put it in a bag, shake it up, take it out, and say, okay, Baltimore, I think you can do that right now. And I think the different matchups would yield different results. Mm-hmm. So I think the Titans might be a bad matchup for the Bills, the way the Titans play. But I don't think that Buffalo has any shot, or Baltimore has any shot of beating Buffalo. Zero. With those
based
safeties,
off of what we saw against Cincinnati, no way.
But we can't base it off of one game.
No, that's fair.
You cannot do that in this league, which
but they
is crazy.
have several narrow wins.
And I'm not a huge fan of Baltimore. I'm just thinking that Lamar Jackson going there playing the Buffalo Bills in January is not. We saw what happened last year, and I'm just not a huge believer in Lamar when you put the game on him and he can't run. And maybe they'll find a way to keep him from being able to do that. I don't know. But that I think right now, I think it's obvious to me that the team that is I can't tell you who the best is. I think the team that's most likely to get to the Super Bowl, I think it's Buffalo and Tennessee. And I think it really comes down to who's going to get that 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And I would argue with you that I don't know how Buffalo Bills fans feel about their team, but I would say at the end of the day, I think a lot of us believe the Titans are going to screw something up along the way. That the idea of, okay, they got the Rams game next week. Outside of that, Saints, Steelers, Patriots, Texans twice,
49ers,
Jacksonville, San Francisco. Like, you should win all of those games. But they're going to screw it up some way along the way. So let's get your phone. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We're live inside the Patron Platinum Club at Bridgestone Arena. 615-737-1025. That's what we're starting with today, which is who's the best team in the AFC? And how do you define the best team in the AFC? Is it the team most likely to go to the Super Bowl? Is it the team that is, right now the best that you think could beat all the other ones? How do you define it? And where do the Titans sit and all that? 615-737-1025. We'll go calls then texts like normal. But I will say this. There is an interesting stat out there that I actually think is a good thing for the Titans. People are like, wait a minute, that's you don't want to be there. You want to be the other. No, just trust me. We'll get to that coming up next, right here on Stillman & Company. Hey, join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and families. Nashville's Light the Night will be virtual and take place on November 4th. Learn more at lightthenight.org/TN.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
The three, and Duchesne puts it in. Matt Duchesne on the rebound.
The Preds look for back-to-back victories when they host the Sharks.
If you stay with it, which our guys did, you're eventually going to get rewarded.
Pregame at 6:30. Face-off at 7:30. On Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. At QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Are you interested in starting your own business? Join the Blink Law Entrepreneur Summit on February 2nd for their one-day event to help anyone start a business. Not only will you hear from experienced entrepreneurs from a variety of fields, but all attendees will also get a one-on-one consultation with an attorney who will register your business. You will leave the event with certified documents and an officially registered business. This is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to jumpstart a new business. For more information and to register, go to facebook.com/BlinkLawLLC.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology. But we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Weren't especially celebratory mood with us after the game yesterday. Does that kind of go back to the theme?
You guys would be the last people I would celebrate with. No offense, Gentry.
I'm just curious, after a 24-point win, where that comes from.
Just trying to stay focused and know that every week is going to be a new challenge, and that's just kind of sometimes who I am. I'm excited that we win. Our players put a lot into it. I'm happy for them, but we're moving on to the Colts to try to prepare for a huge division game on the road. I guess that's where my mind goes, is just to the next game and what it's going to be, and how are we going to prepare, and what's practice going to look like, and but excited and happy for our players, or our fans, the coaching staff. These guys put a lot into it, and that's just, I guess that's part of my job, is to try to just get us focused and ready for the next game.
There you go. That was Vrabel. Oh, the last people I'd want to celebrate are with you guys. I mean, you really need to take that pot shot?
I mean,
par for the course.
Mike, come on.
So, anywho, I would agree to this with Vrabel, because somebody sent this to me yesterday, so I went and looked at it. 538.com, the political website that does like a lot of forecasting and stuff, and it's pretty nonpartisan in terms of like how they come up with their forecasts, but people, like how you feel about something, like if you think, oh, that poll's ass, but like that's really more a reflection of you than it is kind of that. 538 does a lot of sports stuff. According to 538, the Titans have the second highest odds of being the number 1 seed in the AFC. Buffalo sits there at 26%. The Titans at 5-2, who have the tiebreaker over the Bills, sit there at 17%. Now, there is one caveat I want to get to before I start rolling through your phones. I think we're one game away from being able to spend all day, every day worried about the rest of the AFC. You beat the Colts on Sunday, then I think we can spend all day talking about, well, Indy is out as far as we're concerned, and, you need the Bills play the Patriots this week, and the Patriots need to win, because if the Patriots win and the Titans win, then I think we can start talking about it. Like, if you're in the AFC North, you can't talk about this kind of stuff because you got to worry about everybody else in that division. Even Pittsburgh is technically a threat right now.
What if the Titans win and so do the Bills?
That would have no effect on the idea of being worried about the rest of the AFC. Like, the Titans just have to get rid of the Colts first.
Well, yes.
Because none of it matters.
The Titans get rid of the Colts, and then they win the AFC South.
If you don't win the division. So you've got to win the division. You can win the division this week. It's over if you win this week. Over. There is no shot of you losing this AFC South to that crap-ass team with Carson Wentz as their quarterback if you win on Sunday. I mean, Indy's hanging on by a thread. You watch the game Sunday night. They suck.
It's not a good team.
It's amazing. Like the whole narrative thing that Tannehill has had to kind of shred a little bit. And he makes a little bit of progress, and then he sets himself back a little bit, and then he makes a little progress. But deep down inside, people still think Tannehill stinks. We played the clip yesterday of Stephen A. Smith being like, yeah, they're not going to go because they got Tannehill at quarterback. Carson Wentz is the exact opposite. The guy's never done anything in the NFL except for one hot season 4 years ago. And you're listening to Michaels and Collinsworth call this game, and they were just apologizing for Wentz, like, oh, yeah, Wentz has really turned it around here in Indianapolis. Wentz is this, Wentz is that, Wentz is... And in
How can you say that?
3 drives in a row, you could tell Collinsworth had had enough of Wentz. Like 3 drives. The shovel pass drive, there was one where he threw it right in the hands of the DB, and you could tell, like, Collinsworth was like, hey, I just went to bat for you, and you stink. So, I mean, the truth is, Indianapolis is done. And we will spend the rest of this week talking about the Colts. I don't think we need to do 4 days on Indy. But, I mean, the division is over if you win on Sunday. Like, so my dad thinks that the Titans are going to lose because he's seen the Titans do this too often, get to the, all right, it's there for the taking, and then lose it. And I understand how he feels that way. But, I mean, it's right there. You win this week, and you win the division. I mean, I could not give 2 poops about the Chiefs and the Bills when it comes to talking about beating the Colts this week and what that would mean. But I think after this week is when we can just start talking number 1 seed and first round bye and what matchups do you want and what are the Bills doing. And I think that's where that, as I told you, that New England approach to it, which was they never cared about the AFC East. They cared about Manning and the Broncos. They cared about the Ravens. They cared about the Steelers because they were always wondering, okay, how do you get the bye? How do you get the best road to the Super Bowl? Let's go to your phones as promised, which are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam is going to kick us off today on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I look at it like, all right, you break it down. Who's got the quarterback? Who's got somebody who can rush a quarterback into making bad decisions? I think the Titans, after this week, have to be the number 1 team. You got to look at it like, who's the other teams you mentioned? Cincinnati, could they go and beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bills back-to-back? I don't think they could.
What makes you say that?
Because I just don't see them being able to hold up against Buffalo's defense. And, we might have caught Patrick Mahomes on a terrible week or a terrible streak, but he's eventually going to start scoring 40 points again.
You do realize the Cincinnati Bengals have maybe the best rookie wide receiver in the last 15 years. And they have a quarterback, and they have a pass rusher that you're talking about.
Do you think they would beat Buffalo?
Do I think the Bengals would beat Buffalo right now? Right. I think they could.
No way, dude. You're so crazy.
What don't you like about the
deal.
Bengals? Other than the fact that they're the Bengals, what don't you like about the Bengals?
You believe.
Don't make this about me.
Experience.
What don't you like about the Bengals?
They have no experience, and I think years of 9-7 mediocrity helped the Titans because they've experienced lows, mediums, and highs. The the Bengals have no idea how to handle success. So eventually, it's going to unravel. And if you worked alongside Floyd, he said that 1,000 times, is that you got to be able to ride the waves with this stuff. Well, the Bengals have never ridden the wave. So
Adam, I appreciate your call. I mean, I think Floyd would love the Bengals. Like, that's just me. Like, I think he would really like this Bengals team, and I definitely think they would scare him. Like, I mean, the Bengals, and I'm not crowning the Bengals for one big win over the Ravens. I believe that game was in Baltimore, right? Because I was at the Titans game.
It was in Baltimore, yes.
I remember seeing the Ravens end zone, you know, when I'd walk into the club level and I'd see the red zone channel.
It was.
I mean, like, the Bengals are a made field goal away against Green Bay from being 6-1 and having beaten the Packers. Like, and I'm not saying that, like, they didn't make the kick, so they didn't win. But I have a hard time with, like, this. Well, they're the Bengals. We got to forget about that now. Like, we got to forget about that. The Bengals. That is not a reason to knock the Bengals. Just like Chargers is not a reason to knock the Chargers. If you're going to feel that way about the Bengals, then you have to look at the Patriots and say, hey, we better be worried about the Patriots. Why? Well, I mean, they're the Patriots, and they got Bill Belichick. I am not worried about the Patriots getting themselves into the mix right here with the Titans and the Ravens and maybe the Chargers and the Browns and the Bills. I'm not worried about that. So I think that to just dismiss the Bengals, Jamar Chase, and we talked about this before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase, I thought, was the best player going into the draft. Now, he dropped everything in sight in training camp, which probably had something to do with the fact that he didn't play last year. Jamar Chase on one of the best college football teams I've ever seen in my life, maybe the best ever, was the second best player on that team. And the other best player on that team is their quarterback. And they are clearly kicking right now. I mean, they got great receivers. T. Higgins, him, Boyd. They signed T.J. Hawkinson from the Saints as a pass rusher. And Burrow is a bad dude. Like, he has always been, even before he blew up that 1 year at LSU. I remember watching him play. I want to say they won a game at home against Georgia. And I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, this guy is he is tough. I mean, Burrow is a bad dude. So I am not taking the Bengals out of this. As much as it would be easy to say, well, they're the Bengals. Now, when it comes to where they could get into the playoffs, you brought up their schedule, and their schedule compared to the Titans, who play the Texans 15 times, the Bengals' schedule is pretty rough.
It's rough moving forward. And then Baker Mayfield's status is up in the air, so that could go back and forth. You know, like, the Bengals easily could steal 2 games against the Browns if Baker Mayfield is not back out there. But their road to the rest of the season is much more difficult than the rest of the top of the AFC.
Right back to your calls. I see them lined up. We'll get to them next. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025, 1025. The game's broadcast at Bridgestone Arena, brought to you by Hermitage Design Center. Let me tell you about my Boll and Branch sheets. That's right. There is nothing that is more important to a guy like me than a good night's sleep. That's right. I love getting that good night's sleep, that easy rest. And ever since I've got Boll and Branch sheets, they have been fantastic. Sheets are an everyday essential that everybody's got to have and you never want to think about. So just go to bollandbranch.com, get loaded up on your sheets, and never think about it again. They are so comfortable, and they're at a price that will not keep you up all night. So look no further than Boll and Branch. They make the softest organic sheets on the market, and they get better with every wash. And comfort is not their only standard. Again, I love my Boll and Branch sheets. And I would say that I noticed it the most, not when I slept on them, but when I didn't sleep on them, because I was like, wow, this is certainly not what I'm used to with my Boll and Branch sheets. The signature hem sheets from Boll and Branch are a bestseller for a reason. Experience the best sheets you've ever felt at bollandbranch.com. Get 20% off your first set of sheets when you use promo code JARED, J-A-R-E-D, at checkout. That's Boll and Branch, B-O-L-L-A-N-D branch.com, promo code JARED.
Tonight.
Oh, the rebound just shoveled wide.
Nashville Predators are back on home ice in Smashville to take on the San Jose Sharks in Western Conference action. Pre-game at 6:30, face-off at 7:30 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The WAVE technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment and required some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Fall is here, and that means the cold winds of winter are coming. It's a great time to replace those old, drafty windows. Pella is the leader in the industry for top-quality window and door products. But Pella Windows and Doors are also affordable, extremely affordable. Pella has payment plans less than $95 a month to replace your windows. So, I suggest you purchase your windows and doors from the experts at Pella of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Tonight,
it's a fly ball to center field. Lorenzo Cain going back at the wall. Freddie Freeman's left the yard and put the Braves on top.
The World Series begins from H-Town as Freddie Freeman and the Atlanta Braves take on the Astros in Game 1. Pre-game at 6. First pitch at 7.
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app. Brought to you locally by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
And Jim, I think a lot of this is going to fall on Ryan Tannehill's shoulders moving forward as teams focus on Derrick Henry. A Chiefs defense this past Sunday that we know is not very good, one of the worst in football, held him to 86 yards on 29 carries. And then what did Ryan Tannehill do? He took advantage of them stacking the box, advantage of one-on-one matchups, and A.J. Brown goes for 8 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown. I think his stat line is exactly what the Titans are looking for this season. 21 of 27 for 270 yards, a touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. That's the other aspect, I think, of Ryan Tannehill that could come into play that we know he's so good at moving forward. And Andy Reid thought he made a lot of really good throws with defensive players in his face, under duress, and still throwing accurate footballs. That stood out to the Chiefs. That's going to be a big, big deal for this balanced, as Jim brought it up, offense in Tennessee.
There you go, James Palmer. By the way, get ready for the narrative about, it's going to be all on Tannehill now. It's going to all be on Tannehill. I promised phone 615-737-1025 live from Bridgestone Arena, presented by Hermitage Design Center. Jeff has been waiting patiently and is up next in the AFC. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Jarrett. I think the Titans have the best chance of going to the Super Bowl. I know the Bills and the Bengals will be right there in the mix, but the Titans have something they didn't have last year. They have a pass rush. And that's what you said that they needed the most was a pass rush, so they've got it. And they're learning how to use their weapons on offense. And I just, I got a good feeling about it.
Jeff, thank you for your call. I said this, I tweeted this during the game. I said this yesterday on the show multiple times. First drive of the game, Kansas City moving the football, down 7-0. Third down, I think it was like 3rd and 7. Bud Dupree strip sack of Patrick Mahomes. If Bud Dupree's going to do that, everything changes. Everything changes if that happens consistently. Do we think, because they did get a good rush on Buffalo and they got a good rush on Kansas City. Now, we can crap on Kansas City's offensive line all day, and we probably should, but do we think the Titans' pass rush is for real after they've now done it 2 weeks in a row?
I definitely have so much more confidence in it, and I think a lot of that depends on the health of Bud Dupree. If Bud Dupree is ready, he's good to go week in and week out, then I feel so much better about it.
I didn't ask you if.
But Harold Landry being consistent week in and week out, because
I'm not asking you if. You got to put your money on it right now. Titans pass rush is legit or they're not legit?
They're legit. They're legit because, I mean, Bud Dupree there or not, Harold Landry has been doing it week in and week out.
I'm still skeptical.
Why?
Because I believe in Landry and Autry. The other two have shown me that they can absolutely take over the game, but they haven't shown it consistently enough. Remember when Ola Adeni was the savior at pass rusher?
Uh-huh.
Where's he been?
Good question.
I mean, he got a couple of sacks in like the week 2 win over Seattle or something, and we haven't seen Ola Adeni. I mean, he's on
Was
the
he
note
not
card.
hurt?
I don't think so. He might be.
Maybe not.
I can't keep up anymore because this IR. IR
The IR
used
a couple
to be
weeks
a death
ago.
sentence when you went to IR. And now it's like, yeah, he's on IR, but he might be back this
It's like
week, but he
Tim
might be
Lewin-
back next week. He
Tim
might be
Lewin
there.
pinky toe.
And then it's like, wait a minute. But I'm not talking about the injury report. I'm talking about like IR. You know, for 20 years of my life watching football, if you went to IR, you were done. Then was last year, Ian, the first year? I want to say maybe for 2 or 3 years now, they've done that you can designate like 2 or 3 players to return during the season from IR.
I think now it's completely – I don't even think there's a limit on the players.
After COVID, they
Yeah.
changed the rules and they said, okay, you can put as many guys on IR. So anybody who's out for 3 weeks
Minimum
goes
of
to
3
IR.
games. Yeah, you had once you put put on IR, minimum of 3 games.
So like Jayon Brown, for example, has been on IR. I don't even remember when they put Jayon Brown on IR. I don't even remember
I don't
that.
either.
But, I mean, but you're not on the injury report and you're not on the inactive list because you're not on the active roster. So it's all very, very confusing.
It is confusing.
Drew up next on Cincinnati. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jared. I'm kind of more scared of the Bengals than I am of the Bills or the Chiefs. If you look at the Chiefs, I mean, they have no defense. We can run up and down the field on them. The Bills, if you stop Josh Allen, I mean, they don't even try to run the ball, it seems like. The Bengals, man, they got Burrow with all those weapons now. He's got Chase and Higgins and Boyd and Mixon, and they got a pretty stout defense. They beat the crap out of it. What was it last year? I mean, I'd be more scared of them than the Bills or the Chiefs in the playoffs right now, to be honest.
Thank you, Drew. I do think the Bengals are a good team. The idea of I'm with you, Jared, I'm more worried of the Bengals than the Bills is not something that I said, nor is it something that I endorse. I do think the Buffalo Bills are probably the best team in the AFC. And I think the Bengals are a threat. Like, I think that when we look at who is good or who might be good or who could hold you back, or I think the Bengals are a threat. Just like I think the Ravens, the Chargers, the Bills, I think those are all teams that are a legitimate threat. I have a hard time getting on board with the Raiders as like a legitimate threat to the Titans. There's going to be one of these teams that is kind of a middle-of-the-pack AFC team. Indianapolis, New England, Pittsburgh. I think the Raiders are still with that group of teams.
Cleveland could be with that group of teams.
Yeah, I'm going to put Cleveland above that for right now, but there's going to be one of those teams that makes the playoffs. And that's who I'd like to play in the first round. Whichever one of those teams is that team. I don't want, the second place team in the AFC North if it's the Bengals or the Ravens, because I think they're both really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I said yesterday, I don't want to see the Chiefs again. We can laugh about the Chiefs and their terrible defense and their bad offensive line, but last time I checked, they got a good coach and a good quarterback, and usually good coaches and good quarterbacks figure things out at some point along the line. So, I think the Bengals are a threat. I do not think the Bengals are better than the Bills. So I don't want anybody to interpret what I'm saying about the Bengals. I just think Adam just called in, for Adam from Portland, who's always had crazy takes, and I love him, but crazy takes, but called in and was just like, oh, the Bengals are the Bengals. And I'm sure there are some people that are thinking that. Like, the Bengals just hung 40 at Baltimore on the Ravens. Just hung them. Colts Ben has texted in, apparently. Colts Ben, diehard Indianapolis Colt fan, listens to the show for 4 hours a day, every day, and we love that. But literally every day listens in and texts in whenever I say something bad about the Colts, which happens to be every day. What did Colts Ben say?
Indy Ben texted into the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and says, Wentz is playing better than Tannehill this season. You cannot argue against that.
Wentz sucks. And I know this because I watched Wentz on Sunday night suck. The difference is, on Sunday night's game, where I will give Wentz a little credit, is he learned in the middle of the second quarter that he didn't even need to try to throw the ball to his receivers, just throw it up and let the DBs tackle the receivers, and then they'd get the pass interference call. And Jimmy Garoppolo didn't ever learn that at any point in that game. And Jimmy's trying to fit it into tight windows and just happens to throw it right to the Colt players. Like, Indianapolis is a mess.
It is a mess.
They're a mess. Now, look, they still might beat you because that's what the Titans do every now and then. But Indianapolis is a mess right now. Wentz stinks. Like, he really stinks. I've never seen a quarterback get intercepted inside the 5-yard line on a shovel pass, and he's done it twice. He's already been hurt twice this year. Their offensive line might be getting a little bit better. That's the one thing that maybe the Sunday night game made me a little nervous about. But in that game, like, nobody could catch. And then yet Indianapolis realized it. Like, we're just going to run the ball the whole game. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to throw the ball deep to the receivers, almost uncatchable balls, and the receivers are going to try to catch it like this, like a punt, and the 49er players, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to tackle them, which I could not understand. 615-737-1025. We're back to your text next. Here on Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game, live again from Bridgestone Arena, presented by the Hermitage. It's family time. The Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths. On the web, go hermitage.com. It's family time in Smashville this Saturday at Bridgestone Arena with 12:30 hockey. The Spooky Smashville Family Pack includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 4 free skate passes at the Ford Ice Center. The first 5,000 kids to arrive will receive a Halloween tote for arena trick or treating. Prices start at $129. See you in Smashville. Get tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/Family Pack. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Mainly looking at partly cloudy skies this afternoon. Temperatures going to struggle to warm, though. We're only topping out in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Storms return on Thursday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit NashvilleSC.com/22Ticks.
Great first dates start with a confident smile and guacamole. And with the largest network of dentists in the nation, Delta Dental of Tennessee can give you a smile that leaves a memorable first impression. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
Life isn't always nice and tidy. With the largest network of dentists in the nation and affordable plans, Delta Dental of Tennessee can help make sure your smile is the cleanest thing you own. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local Nashville roofer with over 90 5-star Google ratings and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. While roofing is our business at E2, honor is our code. For roof repair, roof replacement, free inspections, or insurance claim assistance, visit e2roofingnashville.com.
Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That could be something that you could really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win. Go to thegamenashville.com for more details. And to play silly underdog picks brought to you by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. And tune into the NFL Game of the Week brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. This week, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. Kickoff set for 3:25 on 1025 The Game. By the way, did you watch Monday Night Football game last night?
I did, yes.
What'd you think of Geno Smith now?
Okay, I'm with you.
I'm with you.
Sucks. I was going to defend Geno Smith when he threw a nice little pass and Tyler Lockett decided to trip and fall it right in the middle of the field when it was right to him and it got intercepted. I will defend Geno Smith there. But last night, how gross was that game last night?
Dude, I was so embarrassed. I think it was DeMario Davis was like kind of taunting the Seahawk fans at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you've been on a good team for a decade. Like, you should be embarrassed.
Like, that was not a good win.
That you're taunting Seahawk fans because you beat Geno Smith. Like, Geno Smith. Anywho.
It was not a good game.
Let's go back to your phones. It is nice, though, that Caroline realized her 2-week mistake of defending Geno Smith.
No. I do not take back defending Geno Smith because you were in the wrong in saying that he was terrible when he first went in when Russell Wilson got hurt.
He is terrible. I said he was terrible because he is terrible.
That game, he did not play terribly.
He is terrible.
Okay, yes, that's fine. But that game, he did not play terribly.
Let's go to your text.
Okay. Phone lines from by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Ben, not Indy Ben.
You don't have to read that every time.
Okay. Ben, not Indy Ben, texts in and says, I don't think Carson Wentz is like he was dreamed up to be in Philadelphia at first, but I think he is playing better than Tannehill because he isn't turning the ball over as much. And that Sunday night game interception was literally just because of the rain and it slipped out. I think that bad start to the season was just because he wasn't healthy.
I mean, I think there's a difference between I don't understand this with turnovers. Like, turnovers are bad. I get it. But Brett Favre is in the Hall of Fame, and the guy threw interceptions all the time. I think, like, Peyton Manning Brett Favre has the record for most interceptions ever, and it's like Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Brett Favre, like, those guys throw interceptions. Mm-hmm. So the idea of, well, hey, Wentz isn't throwing interceptions, so he's good, I don't think that's really, like, a fair representation of what he's doing for the team. I think they're playing it safe a lot, which I would do too because I don't trust him. But I still think they have too much invested on him for him to go out and beat good teams. And that's one of the things that bothers me about Tannehill is that when you play a great team and they take Derrick Henry away, can Tannehill beat them? And I don't know the answer to that yet. But the Colts are not beating great teams. Like the Ravens, we were talking about, okay, are they the top team in the AF, like in the discussion of top team in the AFC? They just gave up 40 points to the Bengals. because Joe Burrow is capable of going out and just winning a game and beating you. And the Ravens in that Monday night game gave the Colts every chance to win, and the Colts couldn't take advantage of it. And I thought that was pretty telling to me about Indianapolis. Like, Indianapolis has beaten the Dolphins. They've beaten the Texans. They've beaten the 49ers. But they haven't won. They haven't beaten the Buffalo Bills. And that's where I look at Indy and I think to myself, okay, you know, if you're going to win games with with Carson Wentz, you're going to have to beat good teams with Carson Wentz. Then we can talk. But the idea of like, well, he's playing better than Tannehill, and Tannehill just outthrew Patrick Mahomes. I need to see Carson Wentz do that. He outplayed Jimmy Garoppolo.
In Patrick Mahomes' worst game of his career so far.
But
nonetheless, he outthrew Patrick Mahomes.
He outthrew Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like, that is, I haven't watched every game of Wentz to sit there and tell you. Tannehill's turning the football over. It's driving me nuts. It is driving me insane. Because the Titans would be a much better team. They would be a much more efficient team if Tannehill didn't turn the football over. But he is. So they got to figure that out. But the whole notion of like, hey, Wentz is playing better than Tannehill, one, that doesn't mean the Colts are better than the Titans. Two, and so I'm not sure that I care about that. And two, like, if the metric is, well, Carson Wentz isn't turning the football over as much as Tannehill, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are playing better at the quarterback position. What's next?
Matt texts in and says, I think right now you don't have a front runner. I feel the team that can fix the mistakes and stay injury-free, regardless of which team it will be. Hopefully it's the Titans.
Well, so then it's either the Titans or the Bills. Like, to the whole crew out there that's like, you know, all these teams are the same, they're not for one reason. Baltimore has to play Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Cincinnati, and so does Cincinnati, and that the Chargers have to play the Raiders, and they have to play the Chiefs, and they have to play, and so, like, you're going to have to win. Like, it's going to be tougher for them to win their division and thus get that first round bye or get the number 2 seed and get 2 home playoff games. Like, it's going to be tougher for those teams to do that than it is for the Titans or the Bills. So if that's the case, then there's one of 2 front runners, and it is the Titans or the Bills. The Bills have an easier schedule. The Titans have the tiebreaker. So I think it's probably like 66% Buffalo likely right now to get the number 1 seed. Well, not 66%. I would say 55% Buffalo. Mm-hmm. That leaves me with 45%.
It does.
55% Buffalo, 30% Titans, 15% everybody else.
Not even putting the Bengals in there?
They're everybody else.
Okay.
Because Cleveland could, Baker gets healthy, or Cleveland could reel off some wins, or Baltimore with the Steelers. Like, it's just, and then not only that, the Titans don't have to play, like, spoiler with those teams. Like, the Titans are going to have the Texans trying to play spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have the Steelers playing spoiler. Big difference. Now, the Titans do play the Steelers, so that at least is out there.
But it's not a divisional game.
Yeah. I think that once we get, like, if the Titans can win this week, then I think you really look at it and say, okay, they've got an opportunity to steal one against the Rams, and then there may not be another competitive game. That should be competitive. I get it's the NFL. There should not be another competitive game left upon their schedule. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coming up next on the program, there is a very obvious hole from the Titans offense that I wonder if is the missing link. We'll get to that coming up next. Although, by the way, where's all the Todd Downing haters? Where did they go? You and you.
What?
I
wasn't calling to fire the man.
No, I didn't say you were calling to fire the man. But you two were leaning out on Downing. And
I was leaning out.
I stayed 100%.
I saw what I liked, and then I can move back and forth.
So you like Downing now?
I'm not leaning out now. I think I'm neutral on
He called a hell of a game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Ian?
He seems to be finding a little bit of a groove.
Okay. All right.
So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
You know how I feel about Downing right now?
How?
Neutral.
Okay, great.
I'm staying totally neutral until
Good.
I feel like I need to put my foot down one way or the other. I'm just wondering about the Downing haters.
Then
You know,
don't pick a side. Be neutral. That's
I'm
easy.
Just saying, you know, the Downing
Someone
haters.
doesn't want to get cold taked again.
The Downing hate. Yeah, I'm really worried about that. The Downing haters over here. Now, this is saying. Preds fans, join us for Smashville Live tomorrow night. Robbie Stanley and Chris Mason will be with defenseman Dante Fabro and Alexander Carrier. The show will air on Wednesdays during the season from 6 to 7, and you can watch via 102.5 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to join us this hockey season for Smashville Live. Coming up next, we will get to that missing link of Todd Downing's offense at ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 102.5 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to 102.5 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Even with the national supply shortage, Hi-Fi Buys retail store stocked up months ago for this week's 44th anniversary. We have a huge in-stock selection of 4 and 8K TVs, projectors, speakers, soundbars, subwoofers, streaming players, and more. And because we planned ahead for this event, we made special purchases before most manufacturer prices increased. Now, we're passing those savings on to you. Let's talk TVs. We have nearly every Sony TV in stock, plus great prices on Samsung, LG, Sierra. Some year-end models we're practically giving away. Do not wait. Shop for the holidays now. Shortages are happening and prices are going up. Get the best for less now. At Hi-Fi Buys, when we have a sale, it's a real deal. Just the very best quality for the very best price. Some sale prices can't be displayed. See sales associate for your special price. Get over to Hi-Fi Buys 44th anniversary sale. This week only. This sale will not be extended. Hi-Fi Buys. See us on Nolensville Road or HiFiBuysNashville.com.
Custom division, special order manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
Chronic pain has a detrimental effect on both the body and mind. Dr. Brandon Tolman at Houston Clinic Orthopedics will diagnose your problem and create the best options for an individualized, ideal treatment plan, utilizing minimally invasive procedures and regenerative medicine. Dr. Tolman is dedicated to providing options to treat pain without the use of drugs or major surgery. Get back to enjoying the things in life that you love to do. Visit tnhouston.com and learn more about Dr. Tolman and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. 1025 The Game live today at Bridgestone Arena from the Patron Platinum Club, where the Predators play tonight. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths. On the web at gohermitage.com. So oftentimes, football is very much a pass or fail grade. Did you win? Yes or no. It's binary. And fan reaction oftentimes is binary. Did you win? Yes. Okay, we don't want to hear anything bad about the team, Jared. Only good all the time. Okay. All right. Don't want to hear anything good. Okay, I understand. That's okay, fine, whatever. You have this, that, the other. I look at games, and when teams lose, I want to know why they lost. And I want to say, okay, this is an issue that is fixable this way, or this happened because of this. It's like the Predators are losing a bunch of games right now, and people are all bent out of shape about it that text into Robbie and Rex Road, and I don't really, this is what happens when you play young players. You play young players, they're not going to win. Like, that's usually, look at Justin Fields, look at every rookie quarterback. It takes time. So I also can look at a win and say, well, that's not right. And yet everybody will tell you, no, who cares? They won, they this, they that. The Tennessee Titans right now have two elite offensive players in the NFL, A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a legitimate MVP candidate. And ever since returning from injury, A.J. Brown has been every bit the number one wide receiver that he was made out to be after having 2,000-yard seasons in his first 2 years. But what about Julio Jones? Had the Titans lost on Sunday, and they didn't even come close, but had they lost on Sunday, I think we would be hearing some grumblings about Julio. This is what always happens, is when you win, nobody says anything bad about anything. When you lose, everybody says whatever they can say about anything. And I think Taylor Lewan's a great example of that. When the team wins, all the guys who love to call him dad get all excited, and he loves to party. And when they lose, all the fans who can't stand the over-the-topness of Taylor Lewan point a finger right in his direction. He's the same guy and the same tackle, win or lose. But people just can't seem to take it when they lose, and they seem to embrace it when they win. So I'm looking at Julio Jones right now. And again, the price you paid for him does matter. You gave up $15 million and a second-round pick. So you need results like the 9 catch results you're getting from A.J. Brown, the great touchdown catches. This season, Julio Jones, 29 yards, 128 yards, 47 yards, 59 yards, 38 yards. In spurts, he shows you that he's still got a little bit of that of what made him a great player. That unbelievable catch on the sidelines against Buffalo. That nice little move he did on the Kansas City defender. But overall, outside of the Seattle game, 6 catches for 128 and what should have been a touchdown. Should have been 7 catches, and it should have been a touchdown. Outside of the Seattle game, Julio really hasn't done much. He has less touchdowns on the season than Michael Pruitt. He had less catches on Sunday than Josh Reynolds. Now, I didn't watch the game film, and I can't break down how many passes he was open or would have made a great play, and Tannehill threw the ball to somebody else. I don't know. But the Titans' offense right now is pretty good. The way that they're playing, they just dropped 31 points on the Buffalo Bills. But we were all talking about an elite offense. And the elite offense was the idea of, hey, pick your poison. You take something away, I am going to make you pay. When you play the Rams in 2 weeks, they're going to load the box because they're not going to let Derrick Henry run for 155 yards and beat them. They're going to take their number one corner, whom they traded 2 first-round picks in order to get and have paid a fortune to in Jalen Ramsey, and they're going to put him on A.J. Brown. Because anybody with a brain would do that. They would say, hey, we're going to go send Aaron Donald at the quarterback. We're going to load the box. We're going to man up Jalen Ramsey on A.J. Brown, and everybody else has to beat us. There's one guy. It ain't going to be Chester Rogers. It ain't going to be Nick Westbrook-Akina. It ain't going to be Josh Reynolds. It ain't going to be Anthony Ferkser, who has been a ghost this season. It's got to be Julio Jones. And I still wonder, can Julio be that guy? Can he be what AJ's been the last 2 weeks? Because if he can be what AJ has been the last 2 weeks, and if he can stay healthy, 2 big ifs, I don't know how you stop this offense. And I try to take Sunday with a grain of salt because the Chiefs' defense is so bad. But at the same time, I think that was a team that just sold out to stop Derrick Henry. They held him to 86 yards, which for any other running back is not a bad day at the office. But A.J. Brown went absolutely off. And as Tony Dungy pointed out on TV on Football Night in America, basically the Chiefs just stuck everybody at the line of scrimmage. So Tannehill said, okay, and just threw the ball to A.J. Brown. But imagine going up against a good team that has a good defense. It's going to be a lot harder just to throw it up to A.J. Brown, especially when it's like the Rams. They got a Jalen Ramsey. You get Julio Jones playing at a high level, which the Titans were the only team in the league that was convinced he could still do. I don't know how you stop this offense. But as of right now, we've now got, a solid 5 games of data from Julio Jones. He's done it 1 time. And that was the Seattle game where he was really good. Other than that, 29, 47, 59, 38. Last year with Atlanta, first game of the year, 157, 24, 32, 137, 97, 137. The year before that in Atlanta, 31, 106, 128, 52, 42, 108, 152. The year before that, he had a period of games in 2018, 144, 104, 121, 107, 118, 147, 18, 106. When does Julio Jones plan on joining the party?
Do you think that Julio could potentially be on a pitch count to sustain him for later in the season, or is this just what we can expect moving forward from Julio?
I think he is on a pitch count, but I can't see you beating the Rams if you go into that game and you say, hey, we only want Julio to play 19 offensive snaps today. Well, if you're going to run 47 plays, how many of those could Julio help you on that you're taking him out of? Like, I don't know of an elite player in the NFL who you can put on a pitch count. Like, you can't put TJ Watt on a pitch count and say, hey, TJ, you only play on 3rd down. Like, that eliminates the point of what makes TJ Watt so great, which is on any play, TJ Watt may kill you.
Well, A.J. Brown's on a pitch count.
But does it look like he's on a pitch count?
Not against the Chiefs, no.
Okay. Like, when push came to shove and the game mattered in the 4th quarter against Buffalo, A.J. was out there on the field every play. So I don't even know exactly what the snap counts were, but it didn't feel to me like A.J. Brown was on a pitch count. And I don't think that you can be a great player on a pitch count in the NFL. I just don't think you can do it. Like, you can't take Rob Gronkowski, for example, the last couple of years in New England. Rob was very clearly on a pitch count. He would miss games. Like, they played the Titans one time, and he was coming off of an injury, and there was talk that Gronk could come back, but Gronk ended up taking that game off because they had their bye week the next week, and then and they really just wanted to make sure that Gronk was ready for the playoffs. The problem with all of that, though, is that Gronk's later years in the NFL, he wasn't a great player anymore. Like, the stats were not top of the league tight end. Mm-hmm. It was, hey, we just need Gronk to catch some passes. But it wasn't top player type stuff anymore. I don't think you can be a top player if, you can only play X amount of snaps. And I do think it's probably something they're managing. But if we're talking about this elite offense, the whole thing about the pick your poison is that on any play, Tannehill can go to the line and say, oh, you're going to take this guy away and that guy away, then I'm going to throw it to that guy. But it can't be, well, wait 4 snaps, and then I'm going to throw it to that guy. Mm-hmm. So I just wonder I think that this is something that, like, maybe Titan fans, especially after they win, don't want to hear. But I do think is worth noting, which is, does Julio still have anything left in the tank? 1 play a game is not something left in the $15 million. I can get 1 play a game out of Michael Pruitt. I don't have a starting tight end. And I do wonder if maybe that's the next evolution of what we're seeing, is that Julio gets 100% healthy. And I can't tell you if he's 100% healthy right now or if he's not 100% healthy. Maybe that's the next step, that he gets 100% healthy, and then we'll see. But, this looks like a deal for the Titans that might make or break their season, because their defense might be playing well enough to give you a chance. Now, I'm having a hard time. Maybe every time I say something good about the Titans, I say, but it was the Chiefs, and right now what the Chiefs are doing is not good. But the Titans' defense might give you a chance this year. If it gives you a chance, the offense has to be elite. Right now, they're 8th, I believe, in the league in points, which is pretty good. But if you get Julio going, that 8th maybe becomes 3rd. And if that 8th becomes 3rd, then all those things that everybody got excited about during the offseason might become a reality. And you might be able to do those against the good teams. Like, look at what the Bengals are doing. They got a good running back, they got good receivers, they got a quarterback that can get it there. That's what the Titans have got to do. But I don't know if the Titans can ever truly do it at the level they're going to want to do it against good competition until they get a second option to go with AJ. They can't beat the Jets if they don't have an option in the passing game. So they need an option in the passing game, but I think really to get over the top, they probably need 2. So let's get your thoughts. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Is Julio going to turn the corner? Are we expecting Julio to turn the corner? Are we okay with where Julio is? Let me tell you about Invigorate Health. That's right. I love Invigorate Health. InvigorateHealthTN.com. If you're feeling old, if you're feeling tired, perhaps you're low on your testosterone. Not yours truly, because I went to Invigorate Health. I got my levels checked. Great testosterone. In fact, one of my friends at the gym today, incredibly jealous when he saw what my testosterone number was. But maybe you need that HRT, that hormone replacement therapy. They've got it. Maybe you really struggle to lose weight. They've got the newest weight loss drug, semaglutide, which is out. And I'll tell you, I was skeptical when I first heard about this weight loss shot. I talked to a doctor who said he's been prescribing it to patients for years, and it was in Men's Health magazine, featured as perhaps the first treatment for obesity. So if you just can't get those pounds off, semaglutide, they've got it. Talk to my friends at Invigorate Health today. They've also got IV therapies, M-Sculpt Neo, you name it, they've got it. I absolutely love Invigorate Health. Online, InvigorateHealthTN.com. Again, that's Invigorate Health. Go talk to my guys today.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
And Duchesne puts it in. Matt Duchesne on the rebound.
The Preds look for back-to-back victories when they host the Sharks.
If you stay with it, which our guys did, you're eventually going to get rewarded.
Pregame at 6:30. Face-off at 7:30. On Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. If your mortgage rate is not in the twos, then you need to call me now. We are locking in clients in the twos with no closing costs. That's right, you heard it right. Locking in clients in the twos with no closing costs. Text me on my personal cell at 615-969-2257 or fill out a few pieces of information on our website, MTGRT.com. MTGRT.com is the proud sponsor of Paul Feinbaum, heard on 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
This game's gonna be good.
Definitely.
Loser buys?
Sure.
Hey, 2 Dos Equis on this guy.
The game hasn't even started.
And yet, somehow it's already over.
Okay.
A dose of certainty. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Halloween is here, and that means scary low prices at Electronic Express. Save big on the best 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. Keep an eye on your kids and your home with smart security from Ring, Arlo, and Night Owl. Appliances are covered with up to 50% off, in stock, and ready to deliver with up to 36 months free financing. Get spooky low prices this Halloween at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
We just got into some drives. Again, that's going to be the thing with the play calling offensively that, we start to compare and contrast. Anytime that we've gotten into drives, we've begin to start to have some complementary plays and to work some things into our system. When you go, 3 or 4 plays or you turn the ball over early, like that's, hopefully we can get into drives and get some 7, 8, 9 play. We talked to the players about getting the first down and going on the ball. We did that. I thought that they were, prepared and responded well to that, and that was huge the other day. A lot of things that we'll have to clean up from a play calling perspective and a playing perspective and an execution perspective. But we got off to the start that we had hoped for.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel. I mean, only Vrabel can seem that upset after a win like that, where he's like, the drives, we got to sustain them, and you got to understand that when we sustain them, I thought they did a good job sustaining drives on Sunday.
And there's an element of football guyism where it's, this is just one game in the past. We're looking forward to the next one. And, we always got to keep up with whatever we were doing, whatever we did right, we need to continue to do. But yeah, come on, Mike. He has sounded pissed off since Sunday.
A.J. Brown, it should be noted for the pitch count thing, A.J. Brown played 42 snaps, 62% of the offense on Sunday against the Chiefs. Julio Jones played 29 snaps, the same as Marcus Johnson, the same as Nick Westbrook-Akina, and one less than Josh Reynolds. At some point, I feel like that's got to change.
Well, especially considering how much the Titans have invested in him, yes.
Julio Jones on the season, what he has done so far over 17 games. So not even 16, what we're used to with Julio. Mm-hmm. And if you go and you look at Julio's stats over a 16-game season in the past, he's not a 7-time All-Pro on accident. Julio, over 16 games, let's just say let's just do his whole career. Mm-hmm. 959, 1198, 580 in 5 games, 1593, 1871, 1409, 1444, 1677, 1394, 771 in 9 games. 771 in 9 games, 301 so far this year. So Julio last year was the low outside of the 5-game season in 2013. Last year at 771 and 3 touchdowns was the low. He's on pace for 731 yards and no touchdowns over 17 games.
It's not good. Especially considering, too, going into this season, the 3-headed monster on this offense is what was advertised.
Do you think this is a 3-headed monster, though?
No.
It's two great players.
No, I mean, Julio Jones, at least against the Chiefs, had 2 big catches to set the Titans up for touchdowns, had 2 big first down catches, which is valuable, of course. But you don't pay $15 million a year in a second-round pick for a couple first downs here and there.
731 no touchdowns over 17 games. Not 16 games.
And that's what he's on pace for.
Where he's had 1871 in a season.
Well, we know he's not that. We know he's not 1871 Julio. And that's not, I don't think that's what we
knew that. I don't know if everybody else knew that.
I mean, the Titans had to have known
you
that he's
remember
not
the hype.
1,800 yard a year Julio Jones.
I get a little worried about what the Titans know or don't know when it comes to Julio Jones and making the trade.
Well, I would hope they know more than I do.
I get a little worried about all that. But I hear your point. Let's go to your phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. What do we have?
One texter texts into the text line and says, we scored 34 against what you said was the number 1 defense last week. I think we're doing okay.
So I understand that. That against Buffalo, you scored 34 points, but you can't sit there and say that now you feel, because you scored 34 points against Buffalo in October, that you feel like, okay, this is a finished product and onward, upward, here you go. I mean, look, the Buffalo game was very impressive.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens when it's the Rams. Because, again, going through the season, and here's what I worry about. It's like, to me, in the NFL, Floyd used to always talk about the fact that half the teams were basically 8-8. And that most of the teams were 8-8. There were some really good teams that are going to finish 13-3, and some really bad teams that are going to finish 3-13. But that everybody else, for the most part, is 8-8, and that the difference between a 10-6 team and a 6-10 team is about 5 plays that either get made or don't get made. Case in point, the Jets game. Anthony Ferguson catches the ball, you probably win the game. That's a win. You didn't make it, you lose. And I think there's probably some merit to that. This year, I feel like it's more obvious to me that there's a bunch of teams over here on one side and a bunch of teams over here on the other side. Like, I think that even teams that I don't think are great teams but are going to have good records, like the Raiders, are over here, and teams that stink but aren't so ungodly bad that you have to pry your eyeballs out to watch them, like the Eagles, are over here. But I think it's going to be very much divided in that sense. I look at the Titans and think, okay, once you get past this Rams game, everybody else is a game you should win. The Steelers, the Patriots, the Saints, the Texans, the Jags, the 49ers, every single one of those games you should win. I'm not saying you're going to, but every single one, this team is better than. You are better than the New England Patriots. I understand it's the NFL, but I'm worried that we're going to get this false sense of security that the Titans, if they finish 13-4, are really, 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 really good, and that, you know, they can do whatever because they're just dumping on all these bad teams and embarrassing them. When you play the elites, can you get past them? And I'll use Julio as an example. Texter said, hey, 34 points against the Bills. Get off our back, Jared.
Solid.
I understand that.
And I don't think we're taking anything away from that win.
You won that game by 1 foot. You have Julio Jones go out there and drop you 100 yards, you probably win by more than 1 foot.
And we said if the Bills and Titans play 10 times, I said the Titans would win maybe 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty fair. And I think a lot of fans would agree with me on that. But can you imagine?
I think 5's kind of generous. Because 5 is 50-50. And the only time that you're going to play them again would be in the playoffs.
Okay, 4.
And in the playoffs, given their schedule, it's most likely to be there.
Yes.
So I have a hard, I think 3 is probably the right number of if you play them 10 times.
Okay, but in that same wheelhouse of you probably beat them fewer times than they would beat you.
Sure.
Can you imagine if Julio Jones doesn't have to be 1,800-yard Julio Jones? If he's 1,000-yard Julio Jones, can you imagine what this team, how many times this team could beat the Buffalo Bills and how much more comfortable you would feel moving forward going into the playoffs if you had not 1 but 2 reliable Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers that Ryan Tannehill can throw to? Because you can only imagine that these defenses, like the Buffalo Bills, like the Cincinnati Bengals, they're going to shut down Derrick Henry. And you have to be able to rely on someone else.
The 2 best Titan offenses of my lifetime had a very defined number 2 wide receiver. The 2020 offense had Corey Davis, who just finished under 1,000 yards, but was very clearly defined as the number 2. I think everybody around here knew AJ was the number 1, Corey was the number 2. But he still almost gave you 1,000 yards. That was probably the best Titans offense of my lifetime. The second best Titans offense of my lifetime was the 2003 offense. Steve McNair won the MVP. Eddie George, I think, had 1,000 yards that year. And Derek Mason was the number 1 receiver. Justin McCarron's a very defined number 2 and was kind of the deep ball guy. Justin McCarron's finished that year with 813 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's what you need. 731 no touchdowns, what Julio's on pace for, that's probably not good enough. The 1,000 yards that Corey Davis almost gave you last year, that's what you need. Now, here's the kicker to this. If you had said, hey, you're going to have the same offense you had last year. So let's say that Julio matches what Corey Davis did. You have the same offense last year, but take away Jonnu Smith, but you get a pass rush. I would settle for that. Mm-hmm. And I think it would have given them a better chance to compete in the playoffs. What you really want is you want last year's offense with the last 2 weeks pass rush. Because if you have that, then you are every bit Super Bowl contender. And I really think that if you've got the last 2 weeks pass rush with the offense you had last season, I think you probably can beat anybody. And that includes the teams in the NFC that are clearly better than the teams in the AFC. Although I will say this, I try not to get too caught up in week 1 or September football or whatever. That Arizona game does kind of look like a measuring stick game in hindsight.
The Cardinals are really good.
But the Titans had so much screwed up that game that
Titans have improved since week 1.
Yes. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phone. 615-737-1025 right here on Stillman and Company. FanDuel Sportsbook, my official sportsbook app. Game 1 of the World Series is tonight. You know exactly who I'm rooting for here in Game 1. And you need to get in with my friends on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. That is right, because for Game 1, there are so many great options that you can choose from with the Fall Classic that they're going to hook up all customers with a risk-free same-game parlay bet. Place a same-game parlay on Game 1 of the World Series, and if you win, you will get and if you don't win, you will get a refund in site credit. Build your parlay your way, combining your favorite bets into one big wager for a big payday. So I think you're going to see Charlie Morton strikeouts. I think it's going to be a big number. Maybe Yordan Alvarez, anytime home run hitter would be a good one. Not sure exactly how I feel about Game 1 of the World Series, so you're going to have to get in there and do it yourself. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, make sure to get the most out of October baseball by downloading the FanDuel Sportsbook app and using the promo code JGM to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. That's JGM. 21 and older in present Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Right now, they're running a tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right. A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. You get 6 months no-interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, locally owned and operated, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It's it changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I have it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com now to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you live and work. With over 10 locations in Nashville and surrounding communities, Houston physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, as well as many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they are strictly adhering to all CDC guidelines for both their patients and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and to see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Football is here, Titans fans. With 5 locations throughout Middle Tennessee, it's easy to find the perfect corner pub to meet up with friends and family to cheer on your favorite team. Brunch it up this Sunday in Cool Springs and head downtown and watch the Titans on the 50-foot LED screen, where we'll be live on location with Jared and friends. Stop into any location for game day food and drink specials. Corner Pub, your local family-friendly sports bar, located in Brentwood, downtown Nashville, Bellevue, Cool Springs, and Franklin. The neighborhood meets at the corner.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Is it there or close to there to that pick your poison offense that we talked about in the offseason?
I don't want to say, but I definitely think we moved in the right direction. This is one game. We didn't win the Super Bowl today, so we're not going to get big-headed about one win.
Even though you didn't win the Super Bowl today, it's still back-to-back wins over the top teams in the conference. I mean, do you feel like this is kind of like an opportunity to put the league on notice about what you guys are capable of?
The league's going to do its thing. They're going to say, look out for the Titans. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. But, for us, it's a week-to-week. It's a week-to-week league, and it's tough, so we got to come in and we got to go to work every week. So no matter what the game plan is, nobody knows who's going to win when you go out there. You can have the perfect game plan and it can all go wrong. So, like I said, it's a week-to-week league, and we're going to try to stay focused and worry about next week against the Colts. So.
There you go. That was A.J. Brown. After the Titans win, they're trying so hard not to get too high. They don't get too high, don't get too low. They're trying so hard. Which fine.
They should. Whatever
works. By the way, something that's bothering me, if you're watching the stream, I'm wearing a sweater today because we're at Bridgestone Arena, so it's kind of cold.
It's a little chilly.
What color is this sweater to you?
Blue.
I think in the stream it looks purple.
Well, because you're against a red wall.
That's what that is?
Blue and red make purple.
Oh, it's driving me crazy. All right, to your phones, 615-737-1025.
So there's a discussion going on in our YouTube chat comparing A.J. Brown and Julio Jones' stats back and forth. So one commenter on the YouTube stream says Julio Jones gets 11.1 yard per carry and A.J. Brown gets about 8. Julio has caught 63% of his targets while A.J. has caught 58% of his targets. And one commenter says clearly from these stats, Julio is producing when he's on the field. You can complain that he's not on the field, but you are blind if you think he's not producing.
Again, 731 yards is 731 yards over a 17-game season. The Seattle game, yeah, Julio was a factor. Julio, you don't win that game without Julio Jones. You don't even come close to winning that game without Julio Jones.
Yeah.
The truth is that in your big wins, and to me, Seattle, Kansas City, and Buffalo were the 3 big wins. It has been Derek and Julio in the Seattle game. Derek and AJ in the last 2 games. I'd like it to be Derek and because I do wonder. Go back to that Seattle game. If A.J. Brown doesn't drop those, how many passes he dropped? 3, 4? If he doesn't drop those passes, you may run away with that game. And I know we can go back and say, well, if this, if that, if whatever, but you may win that game, like handedly. Instead, it comes right down to the wire. Well, I'm talking about playing the best teams. And when you play the best teams, I mean, you're going to need everybody doing their thing. And I got to say, the idea of yards per reception right now, which I know is like a big Vegas thing, like yards per play is a big Vegas stat. I don't care about that when it comes to AJ and Julio. I watch the games. I don't need somebody to make up a stat that makes me think, oh, okay, yeah, that's exactly. I mean, like Titans drive, for example, against Buffalo. Here's in the fourth quarter. Tannehill to AJ for 13. Tannehill to AJ for 20. Tannehill to Derek for no gain. Tannehill to AJ for 6. Tannehill to Julio for 6, field goal. The next Titans drive. Tannehill to Nick Westbrook-Akina for 14. Tannehill to AJ for 22. Tannehill to Westbrook-Akina 5. Tannehill to Westbrook-Akina 8. Tannehill complete to Henry for 9. Henry on the left side for a touchdown for 13 yards. Those AJ stats in the fourth quarter of the big game, the AJ stats are 22, 20, what was the other one? 13. Like AJ's doing his job.
And I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare averages because Julio's caught a lot of deep passes. I mean, he may have 2. What was it against
the deep ball against the Seahawks? Yeah, that
deep
one
ball
deep
against
ball.
the Seahawks. He had a couple deep balls against Buffalo. Like that's going to up his average.
He had that one weird one where I didn't even thought he caught it against Buffalo, where it was a great catch.
Yeah, it was a great catch.
But I mean, the flag came out for interference. So I was like, oh, okay. And then they were like, no, he caught the ball on the sideline. I'm like, holy crap, he caught it. So yeah, he had 2 deep passes throughout the course of the year. But
and
I mean,
the BS
I think this
retracted touchdown against Seattle.
But this is what I think. And I don't know if, like, I understand the text line gets mad and the YouTube stream gets mad and to the Julio defenders out there, is what he's doing right now what you signed up for? Like, as a fan, the day that you heard that the Titans have made this trade, is this what you signed up for? What you've gotten so far?
For me personally, absolutely not.
I'm talking about for them, though, because you weren't for this trade.
No.
But for them, is this what you agreed to? Because I can't see any way you can say yes. What's next?
Another texter texts into the text line and says, at this point, I feel like I would rather stick with Corey Davis rather than Julio Jones. Jared, your thoughts?
That's tough. I mean, I've seen Corey Davis play one game with the Jets, and he absolutely demolished the Titans. I'm not a huge Corey Davis fan. I do think in sports, like, the analytic guys will argue this to the high heavens, but I think there's something about the clutch gene or, the steel marbles.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example. The Braves, they got 2 pitchers, 2 young pitchers. They got Max Fried, who, is going to probably win a Cy Young here in the near future. And they got Ian Anderson. And if I had to pick one to win a World Series game, it would be Ian Anderson. Because he has pitched, I think, now in 5 postseason games. I believe he's like 4-0 with like a 2-something ERA. They've pitched him in a game 7. They've pitched him in a game 6. He was fantastic in kind of the swing game of the NLDS, and he's just got it. And what's funny is the Braves, 2 decades ago, were this exact same way. Glavine had one great start in the playoffs, is one hitter against the Indians that led them to the World Series. Outside of that, Tom Glavine had the reputation of not being a very big-time postseason pitcher. But John Smoltz had this reputation of, hey, in the playoffs, this guy has got the marbles of steel. And I really believe in that in sports, that a guy like Derek Jeter or a guy like Michael Jordan, that they have that in them. And I'm not sure that Corey has that. Like, I think it was time and time again in big games where Corey Davis just went, like, where's Corey? Corey! And I think when we're talking about what the Titans are doing right now, the word Super Bowl keeps coming up. Mm-hmm. And in order to get there, you're going to play in some big games. And I think Corey disappears too much in the big games. That's my biggest knock on Davis. And I don't know about Julio. I mean, I thought Julio was great in the Super Bowl until the Falcons totally lost it. But I can't get on board with Corey because I know what Corey is, and that's, I think, just not good enough. Like, it's just one smidge below good enough.
And how much would the Titans have owed him if they would have re-signed him for the season?
Well, I mean, it would be like what they're paying Julio. I mean,
Right.
It'd be what they're paying Julio. I mean, they basically chose Julio over Davis. And I don't think they wanted Davis back. I mean, Chris Sanders heard John Robinson talk about him before free agency, and Chris was like, he's gone. He's gone. Headlines with Caroline next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Live today from Bridgestone Arena, brought to you by Hermitage Design Center. Do not miss the pregame show. That's right. It'll be this Sunday from the Corner Pub downtown. Chris Sanders, Mark Howard, Robbie Stanley, and for me, I'll be at the World Series. So join us 9:30 to 11:30 at Corner Pub. That's 151 Fifth Avenue North, prior to the Titans and the Colts. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Mainly looking at partly cloudy skies this afternoon. Temperatures going to struggle to warm, though. We're only topping out in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Storms return on Thursday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue, so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
It's football season and Social Furniture has the best lifetime guarantee motion furniture on sale now. Their sofas with recliners are push-button electric and wall-away with all colors to choose from for your comfort. Sectionals from $9.99, recliners from $3.99, Chase Lounge and all-electric recliners from $19.99. Social Furniture will have you football ready with all furniture that are Plus Leather, Microfiber, and Chanel's. Social Furniture has same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social.
Darren McFarland.
That should get you in the mood for a game tonight.
Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Listen to the Major League Baseball postseason on ESPN 102.5 The Game and 94.9, brought to you by 312 Pizza Company. Tonight, it's Game 1 of the World Series on ESPN 94.9 as the Atlanta Braves, let's go, take on the Houston Astros. First pitch at 7:09. 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is home to the best pizza in Nashville. Head to 312 Pizza Company to grab a bite, a beer, and watch the World Series tonight between the Braves and the Astros. Once again, if you're driving around, the Preds game will be on 102.5, so that game will be on ESPN 94.9. It's time now for Headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company, right here on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Headlines with Caroline, presented by Fiero Tequila, the spiciest infused tequila on the market. The world belongs to the Braves.
Mike Tomlin's name has apparently been thrown around potentially for the USC job, and he addressed it in his most recent press conference, kind of shutting down any rumors that he could be heading to college. Here's what Mike Tomlin had to say about the USC rumors.
Hey, guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
So Mike Tomlin very much so not entertaining the idea. And a lot of coaches, college coaches maybe get asked, are you heading to USC, are you heading to LSU? A lot of professional coaches, are you heading back to college? A lot of times is, I'm focused on my team, very much so a coach answer. But Mike Tomlin is not really leaving any room for speculation about where his priorities are at.
I mean, I think Mike Tomlin's offended by it.
Yeah.
And I'll explain like that when he tells you he's offended by it when he says, is anybody asking Sean Payton about it? Is anybody asking Andy Reid about it? I'm going to tell you the way I interpreted this, and I could be totally wrong about this. I think Mike Tomlin feels like he's been fighting a perception for 10 years that he's not a good NFL coach. Remember Terry Bradshaw came out a couple of years ago and was like, he's just like a cheerleader. He's not a coach. He inherited a great team from Bill Cowher. They won that Super Bowl. And they've been good. They haven't been great, but they've been good ever since. And I think Tomlin looks at it and is like, it's hard to be a coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I've won a lot of games. And that maybe he doesn't feel like he's gotten the respect he deserves. He thinks people respect Andy so much as an NFL coach that no one ever brings up the idea of Andy going to college. They respect Sean Payton so much that nobody ever thinks about the idea of Sean Payton going to college. But they don't respect me enough in order to not bring up the idea of me going to college. And I'm going to be honest with you. And again, I'm just interpreting this however I interpret it. I think Mike Tomlin looks at that and thinks, what do Andy Reid and Sean Payton have in common that I don't? Mm-hmm. And I see where he's coming from, if that's what he's saying. Because for years, I think people have looked at Mike Tomlin like, oh, yeah, he's okay, he's whatever. But he's done everything those guys have done.
Yeah.
Notice he didn't say Belichick. He said exactly guys that have one title, just like he's got one
guys
title.
Who have won titles that are having off seasons.
Just like him.
Mm-hmm.
One championship for Sean Payton, one championship for Andy Reid, one championship for Mike Tomlin. I thought it was well said by Mike Tomlin. Did you see whose names come up for the USC job?
I've seen a lot of names thrown around.
But did you see whose name came out yesterday?
Mr. 8-8.
Jeff Fisher.
Can't go 8-8 in a 12-game season.
So I was thinking about this.
USC alum.
I was thinking about this.
Fight on.
When I was a kid, and I remember, and I love Mark Howard. I love Mark Howard. But, when it comes to firing stuff or whatever, I remember as a kid, Mark Howard saying, if you fire Jeff Fisher, he'll get the USC job. He'll get a job in 5 minutes. And that was, for a long time, a reason why we didn't want Jeff Fisher fired. Because it was somebody else is going to hire Jeff Fisher. And in hindsight, it's good to hire him.
Who cares?
So I got a theory. That Floyd is pulling the strings from up above, And he wants Jeff Fisher at USC so that they never lose to UCLA ever again. That's all I can come up with. And Brett McMurphy is the one who reported it, which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me that Brett McMurphy, because Brett McMurphy is a reliable college football reporter.
Yeah.
And he reported that Jeff Fisher is in the mix. And if they hire Jeff Fisher at USC, LOL. Like, this guy, he hasn't coached in 5 years.
Hammer the under on whatever the over-under for USC's wins are.
College, and you're going to bring him into USC? Oh, God. I love these places. I love these places. I do. These places that hire guys that have never coached in college and have not even really been that good and then expect them to be. I love it. And they fire their coach, and they're these great programs. They fire their coach, and they got no clue who to hire. I laugh at that every time. What's next?
Packers wide receiver Davante Adams placed on the COVID-19 list yesterday after he tested positive. And we can assume that he is vaccinated because he is yet to be forced to follow the protocols for unvaccinated players, which is good news for Green Bay because they have a game on Thursday. So if he is vaccinated and asymptomatic, the NFL protocol is that he will have to get 2 negative COVID tests 24 hours apart to be able to play Thursday against the Cardinals. Tight deadline for a huge game for 2 NFC contenders. Matt LaFleur said the team is also expected to be without their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, for Thursday's game as well.
So, and that's a big deal because LaFleur farms out the other side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big deal. I mean, I hate this because this is going to be such a great game.
Yeah.
Like Arizona, Green Bay. I mean, this is a statement game. Like, if Arizona can whack Green Bay, then they are very much the favorite, very much for real in the NFC, having beaten the Rams and Green Bay. If
Green Bay wins it.
If Green Bay flexes their muscle on Arizona, then I think, that maybe opens our eyes here. But I don't know, without Davante Adams and Lazard at wide receiver, I don't think Green Bay can beat Arizona.
No.
And especially defensive coordinator on a team where the offensive coach just, farms out the other side of the ball. I mean, I hate it for the game, but I think if I'm an Arizona fan, I don't hate that news. What's next?
Guess who's back in New York?
Guess who's back in New York? Who's back in New York?
Joe Flacco is back in
this.
New York. The New York Jets have reacquired their quarterback in a trade with the Eagles. So he spent the 2020 season there as the Jets' backup under previous coaching staff. But rookie quarterback Zach Wilson, Jets' previous quarterback, is expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained PCL in his right knee that he suffered against the Patriots on Sunday. The earliest that he could return is November 14th against the Bills. So a nice little warm welcome back for Zach Wilson as he faces this Bills team. So
pretty big if, though.
If, yes,
he
that's
would
the
return
earliest he could come back. But this cost the Jets a 2022 6th-round conditional pick, which will improve to a 5th-round pick if Joe Flacco plays a certain number of time. But Matt White will actually be the replacement for Zach Wilson. They brought in Joe Flacco just for insurance purposes. But Matt White has made his NFL debut on Sunday when Zach Wilson went down.
I will say this about Joe Flacco. The moment that both Ian and I realized that Floyd didn't like Mariota was when we were at and we were at Oktoberfest, and the Titans were getting ready to play the Broncos. And I said, who's the it was just who's better quarterback, Flacco, Mariota? And he said, I think I'd have to pick Flacco. And I was like, you're done with Mariota. He's like, no, I just think, I'd rather have Flacco.
You just made a statement without saying anything.
And Ian, who I am sure it was in his contract that he was never allowed to disagree with Floyd. Even Ian, you kind of called Floyd out on that one too. Like, dude, because he hated Joe Flacco so much. And so when I see Joe Flacco to the Jets, I just think, man, just when you think it can't get worse for the Jets, it gets worse for the Jets. Joe Flacco.
I mean, the Jets are just comical at this point. They're a comical franchise. It's just, at this point, just call it Jetsing. Jets doing Jet stuff.
They beat the Titans. What's next?
That is true. Tom Brady became the first NFL quarterback to reach 600 career touchdowns. He passed that on Sunday and threw a couple more after that in their 38-3 win over the Chicago Bears. But the biggest drama that happened here, so Mike Evans caught the 600th touchdown, not realizing that it was a record. He threw the ball into the stands, and then Bruce Arians was like, wait, no, what are you doing? That was a record. They wanted to bring it back for Tom Brady and possibly for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But that fan, obviously, not wanting to give it back, did give it back. But in exchange for the 600 touchdown ball, he will get 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Tom Brady, a signed Mike Evans jersey, and his game cleats, a $1,000 credit to the Buccaneers team store, and 2 season tickets for the remainder of this season and the next. And even though he got all of that in return, it still is not even near the value of that 600 touchdown ball.
So, I know Tony Romo and Jim Nantz were having fun with this on the broadcast. Like, that was a terrible deal when they said it was like a couple
there's nothing you can do about
or whatever, that they were going to get.
He had to give the ball back.
You don't have to give it back.
I mean.
But I would say this. Like, I do think that the making fun of the return, which, by the way, that's a pretty good return.
It's a great return. The ball's worth $500,000.
But you're going to get to know. And I think Brady said on the Monday night game last night, I think he said he gave him a Bitcoin. So that's what, $60,000?
And he did ask for a round of golf with Brady. And I'm sure Brady would do it.
I would say this, like, would I pay $500,000 to be friends with Tom Brady? Like,
you totally would.
Probably. You
love him.
Here's the one thing I'll say about this. Because I was thinking about, if I'm in that situation, where I have the football and they're like, this is Tom's 600.
Yeah.
Like, it's Tom, it's Tom Brady's 600th football.
Yeah.
Like, it's
his. It's a big deal.
It's his. Like, he did it. Like, it's his. And I
mean, that's going to Canton.
I think as a, fan of the game, it's a privilege to be able to have watched Tom Brady for the last 20 years. And so I would want Tom Brady to know that I think it is an honor to have watched him play. That I take all the free stuff you're going to give me.
Yeah.
I take it in a heartbeat. But I would want him to know that it's not about that, and it's about the respect that I have for the game and the respect that I have for what he's given the game, that I would give that $500,000 back.
You would not give the $500,000 back.
No, I think I would. And I think, too, I would be like, hey, I'd pick, a charity around here that's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, Tom.
Put it there. Yeah.
Like, Tom, I need you to.
It needs it more than I do.
I need you to kind of step to the plate. Those are headlines with Caroline, presented by Firo Tequila, the spiciest infused tequila on the market. The world belongs to the brave. Coming up next, Mike Vrabel said something on Sunday that has kind of floated around, but he's going where I think maybe he either should go or shouldn't go, but he shouldn't half go there or half not go there. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena. Our coverage brought to you by Hermitage Design Center. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Even with the national supply shortage, Hi-Fi Buys retail store stocked up months ago. For this week's 44th anniversary, we have a huge in-stock selection of 4 and 8K TVs, projectors, speakers, soundbars, subwoofers, streaming players, and more. And because we planned ahead for this event, we made special purchases before most manufacturer prices increased. Now, we're passing those savings on to you. Let's talk TVs. We have nearly every Sony TV in stock, plus great prices on Samsung, LG, Sierra. Some year-end models we're practically giving away. Do not wait. Shop for the holidays now. Shortages are happening and prices are going up. Get the best for less now. At Hi-Fi Buys, when we have a sale, it's a real deal. Just the very best quality for the very best price. Some sale prices can't be displayed. See sales associate for your special price. Get over to Hi-Fi Buys 44th anniversary sale. This week only. This sale will not be extended. Hi-Fi Buys. See us on Nolensville Road or HiFiBuysNashville.com.
Custom division, special order manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
Hey Nashville, get ready to party Smashville style. On February 26th, the Nashville Predators will make history with the first ever outdoor NHL game in Tennessee as they host the 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. The Preds will take on the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning in front of 70,000 rockin' fans. Visit NHL.com/Stadium Series tickets.
Creating the finest award-winning tequila means starting with the best ingredients. Camarena Tequila is 250 years in the making from Arandas, Jalisco, Mexico. You see, at Camarena, they wait for their 100% blue Weber agave to reach maturity before harvesting each and every plant by hand. This allows them to consistently produce one of the smoothest and best-tasting tequilas in the world. Experience Camarena Tequila today, available at a fine liquor store near you. Camarena Tequila is the official tequila for the Nashville Soccer Club.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use. Only down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Today, Big Preds game. We're live at Bridgestone Arena, brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. So the Titan ticket office may thank me because I got an email to my phone. And apparently they've got a special deal on Titans tickets.
Uh-oh.
So you know when you go to buy tickets for something and it's like each ticket is $100.
And then it's like with fees and everything, that'll be $374 total.
Yes.
Yeah.
No fees until 10/31, according to the Titans.
Happy Halloween from the Titans.
The Titans say starting today, there will be no fees for single game tickets for the final 5 games of the season. The Saints, Jags, Texans, 49ers, and Dolphins. You'll want to move fast. This deal ends midnight Sunday, 10/31. That's what I got an email for. Now, I'm good, but maybe some people will be enticed to buy because of the no fees. But Mike Vrabel said on the postgame Titans show, as I was in my car driving home after the game, said to Mike Keith, hey, we got too many visiting fans in the stands. This team is too good for us to have stadium, fans with, and I'm paraphrasing what he said here, but that, this is too good to have visiting fans in the stadium. 2 weeks in a row, there have been a lot of visiting fans in the stadium. So let me ask this question. 1, is Mike Vrabel right? Is this team too good to have all these visiting fans in the stadium? Keep in mind that before, when the plans were made for the visiting fans to show up in the stadium, you were losing to the Jets. And let's also remember that the Titans haven't been to a Super Bowl in 22 years, and the Titans have won their division once in the last decade, and that everybody brags about how great of a city Nashville is. So every time that these fans see their schedule and see Nashville on there, they want to come here. And we do want tourists to come to Nashville. It is a big part of our economy, so it is important to us. But what do we think about the whole scenario with Vrabel I'm not sure if we can call it a shot at the fans or if we can say that he's not being, appreciative of the fans enough, or if he's taking a dig at the visiting fans, or as some around here would say, pocket watching.
Mm-hmm.
What do we make of Mike Vrabel's comments after the game, after they win, saying, hey, this organization deserves to have stadiums full of fans?
Well, I mean, you look at the past 2 games where Nissan Stadium has been packed, both full of Titans fans and visiting fans. The Bills and the Chiefs, those have been 2 very successful football programs with very loyal fan bases. That's one thing. So they want to go on the road and they want to see their team play. I mean, Bills fans are a different breed. They travel like crazy. They're everywhere. They love their team. And they're going probably, if a Buffalo fan lives in Buffalo, I would want to get out of Buffalo as much as I possibly could. So, and it's Nashville. It's a fun city, and it's really nice weather right now. And Nissan Stadium is plumped right in the middle of one of the most fun streets of bars in America. So, of course, they're going to come here. It's not like they're going to Indianapolis. All respect to Indy Ben and anyone else who lives in Indy. It's not necessarily a destination place to go. Nashville is. I'm sure the Dolphins get a ton of visiting fans. I'm sure the Rams and the Chargers get a ton of visiting fans.
I don't think the Dolphins have a lot of fans in general.
Well, the Raiders then. I mean, I'm thinking of fun cities to go to. I mean, Las Vegas, Miami,
the Raiders
LA,
are going to be
Nashville.
The Raiders are going to be like a visiting fan paradise.
Those are tourist cities. So that is going to come with your team as whenever it's a fun city to go to, because the game can be supplemental to whatever else you got going on. You're going to a concert, you're going to bars, whatever it may be. Visiting fans are going to come. And I think that you have to look at it like, it's not like it's all Bills fans, it's all Chiefs fans. There are a lot of Titans fans that are packing the stadium as well. So I can only assume that Chiefs fans, Bills fans, whatever other fans are going to pack Nissan Stadium probably circled the Titans game in their calendar whenever the schedule came out, whatever month that was, May, June, and said, we want to go to that game. We'll buy tickets to that game. There are probably a lot of Titans fans that decide the week before, maybe 2 weeks before, hey, Titans game would be fun. Let's do it. Let's get the family and go. So there may be limited tickets available. I agree with him that this team is very good. And if you're a Titans fan, you should want to go to the game. You should want to watch Derrick Henry. You should want to watch this team go on whatever streak they may go on this season. But I don't think it's necessarily fair because we live in a fun city, and these are 2 very fun, very passionate fan bases.
Okay, I would agree. I think that, though, the problem is that any passionate fan base takes over your stadium. The Packer fans, the Patriot fans, the Steeler fans for years, the Bills fans, the Chiefs fans, the Bronco fans. I mean, every single one that has a big fan base has a giant presence here. And it is like very frustrating for a lot of these coaches. I mean, Mike Mularkey told me when he took the job, like, we got to get these visiting fans out of the stadium. And I just don't think, I mean, here's the thing. I just don't think that Titan fans believe in this team enough. I mean, ultimately, the passion in the city is just not there for them to sell out all these games on their own. That's how they do it. I mean, I looked at the stadium the other day, and I saw a lot of Titan fans in the lower level. I saw kind of a mix in the club, and I saw a bunch of red up in the 300 levels. Why? Because Titan fans aren't buying those tickets. Those tickets are available. We went over this last week when it came to Derrick Henry. And I'm like, you people have an all-time great running back. An all-time great. What he's doing, nobody else has ever done. And they don't want to go to the games. And some people will say that they can't afford it, which I understand. But I think for the masses, I mean, the truth is that I just don't think the people in Nashville are compelled enough to go see Titan games right now. Maybe it's because the team, hasn't been good enough for a long enough period of time. Maybe it's because the games aren't fun to go to. I think that there's a lot that they could do from a game operation standpoint. Like, I sit in the club level, and the concessions up there are terrible.
They're so bad.
They're terrible. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's like, where's popcorn at? Oh, you got to go down the other side. Like, popcorn. I mean, it's embarrassing. And so, I mean, the stadium sucks. So I think that that's part of the problem here is that the Titans, and they're trying. Like, I know some of the people over there that are good people that are trying. And I get the emails, tell us about your experience at the game, and I'm not going to fill that stuff out because I don't care. But I think that I think it's everything, right? I think this is like Family Feud, where you survey 100 people and the top answers are on the board and there's a bunch of different answers. And I think one of it is your fan base is kind of a young fan base that has had to endure a lot of losing. So when you've had to endure a lot of losing, you're not going to have a lot of fans. So you can sit here and say, hey, we're a good enough team now because we beat the Bills and the Chiefs, so we demand that we have full stadiums. Well, bing, number one answer, lost to the Jets. Okay, number two, I think that it's hard, unless you've got a parking pass at the stadium, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
It is.
To go park on one side, walk the bridge, go,
and it's expensive. Parking for the game might be about $50. I walk from where I live. It's about a mile walk, and then I got to walk up the ramp and walk up all those stairs.
And it's not that it's expensive as much as it is just, you just don't want to do it. And I think that's kind of an issue. And I think that there's not a lot of bells and whistles to the stadium that make it a great place to go outside of watching the game. And I do think that the fan base maybe needs a little bit of a reality check. And they need to say, hey, got an all-time great running back to go watch and play. You know, when this team got started, it was packed every game. Now, they were going to the Super Bowl and going to the playoffs every year, but it was definitely something of that magnitude. I think the advent of the secondary ticket market has also made it easier for visiting fans to get tickets to places. But, Titan tickets are not hard to get. We did this last week where we just went right there and we saw, the Jags. And it was okay, how about this game against the Texans? And there were all these sections available. We pulled up a random Tampa Bay Giants game. There were 4 tickets available. Not 2 over here and 2 over there. 4 in 4 separate sections. 4 individual tickets. Tampa's not a great fan base. I know they just won the Super Bowl, but it's not a great fan base. But
they just won the Super Bowl.
But they have Tom Brady.
Okay.
But see, the point Vrabel's trying to make is, hey, we're good enough to be playing in front of, not visiting fans. And the truth is maybe you're not. Maybe you're not.
I don't think home fan attendance at the game should be an indicator for how good we think this team is.
Why not?
Because the public perception of the team, I think, is different than the actual success of the team.
So you're saying how good we, as in me and you.
How good the city of Nashville thinks the Titans are.
I think it definitely is an indication of that.
Well, the Titans are 5-2 and just beat 2 of the teams that we thought were the best in the AFC.
And they have to get rid of the Ticketmaster fees in order to try to get people to buy tickets.
Yeah.
So that's telling you what the people think.
But I don't think that the public perception in Nashville's perception of the Titans is accurate of what the Titans actually are.
Though that doesn't matter. This is about why people aren't going to the games.
I thought that's what you were saying, was that maybe the Titans aren't good enough.
No, maybe the fans don't think they're good enough.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
And maybe they aren't good. To me, I think the story here is Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry is why you should go to the game. Because you're never going to get to see that again. You got an 8-year-old, and you can get tickets to Jacksonville. You are never going to see another Derrick Henry again, and your 8-year-old will be able to say, hey, I was there when Derrick Henry, that's why I would buy tickets, for that experience. But that's just me. And I think a lot of people don't want to do it. And so, I'm not trying to be rude here, because I know a lot of people are going to interpret this as rude, but I think Vrabel's either got to go all in or all out. Not making one backhanded comment during the post-game interview. You either got to get up there at the podium and say, hey, we need the stadium packed. Mm-hmm. Or you need to just leave it be, and if your stadium is half another fan base, then it's half another fan base. But you got to decide if this is something you want to take on. Not, hey, we just beat the Chiefs, so now let me make a comment here. Because I'm going to guess the post-game interview with Mike Keith wouldn't have been that way if they had lost. Mm-hmm. So I think that the coach has to decide, are you tired of it? Are you tired of seeing it every time that a good team, the good fan base team comes to town? And if you're tired about it, then you've got to do something about it. And if not, then just let it be. But I think you have to pick one way or another. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. What are your thoughts on it? Plus, Mark Howard had an interesting take on the fans at Nissan Stadium, which we'll get to. Trevor Maddich, by the way, later this hour. So we'll talk to Trevor. 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I absolutely love my friends at Hiller. They do a fantastic job of taking care of my home because, well, happy you'll be or the service is free. That is their guarantee. And I know that to be true because, again, I use Hiller at my home, and I absolutely love having them around. You will too if you've got Hiller coming out to your home. You've noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves everywhere, and now there are serious shortages on equipment and products for your home. So HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited in 2022. If you need a replacement, call my friends at Hiller today. Don't wait until you are out of options. Hiller has special financing available, so you buy now and you pay nothing until next year. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or Services Free guarantee. You can learn more at happyhiller.com.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Free, and Duchesne puts it in. Matt Duchesne on the rebound.
The Preds look for back-to-back victories when they host the Sharks.
If you stay with it, which our guys did, you're eventually going to get rewarded.
Pregame at 6:30. Face-off at 7:30. On Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. A final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey folks, Robbie Stanley here, and basketball fans celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about betting FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. The Miami Heat, an intriguing option this year with same-game parlay bets. You meet Tyler Hero on the over on three-pointers, Bam Adebayo over on defensive rebounds as well. But you take it any way you want to take it. Offers like this are why I love betting the NBA with FanDuel Sportsbook. You get paid in as little as 2 hours. They've got great odds boost and specials every day and great live betting options as well. So see for yourself why America's #1 sportsbook app is FanDuel Sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up using promo code ROB to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment matter more this season. That promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
I'm not one to really, unnecessarily wave the flag, but this team deserves to have a good crowd behind it. I mean, it just does. I think we've all learned how much better the experience is, when the building's loud, whether you're at Bridgestone or whether you're at Nissan. It doesn't really matter. And this team, with who they've beaten, I mean, if they stay on the same course, it's not like they're getting in on a pass. It's not like they're overrated. It's not like, if anything, they might be one of the better under the radar teams in the NFL right now.
That was Mark Howard saying, look, hey, I think they deserve the fans. Let's go to your phones. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Eddie, thank you for waiting. Kick us off this hour. Go ahead, Eddie.
Hey, Jared, how are you?
Good.
Hey, so my take on it, right, is I'm a, mid-20s, moved down here, not from here, but big football fan. My take on it is that, Nashville or the Titans need to do something to energize the younger fan base that might not be from here. It's a very transient city. It's a very transient city with younger people. And I think they need to bridge the gap, some way to get, younger fans like myself. I mean, I've adopted the Titans as my second team. But, I think they got to bridge the gap between, now and, when I'm starting to have kids and when my kids, will probably end up being Titans fans because this is what they grow up doing.
So I appreciate your call. There's really only one way to do that, and that's to win football games. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the sense of it. Like, if your kids are going to school, and I thought it was interesting. A couple years ago, I had a kid that shadowed me from my high school. So he went to USN. So he's graduating. I want to say this is like 2017, maybe 2018. I can't remember. And I was like, "Are you Titans fans?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "Is anybody a USN a Titans fan?" Not really. And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What team you like?" He's like, "The Patriots." Okay. So when I was a kid, we loved the Titans. All of us. We all rooted for we still all root for the Titans, but we love the Titans. Well, I mean, they went to the Super Bowl the first year they were the Titans. And they were good for a 5-year period. Then they were bad for a 15-year period. And in that 15 years, the young people just didn't want to see this loser team year after year with Jake Locker at quarterback. And so he says, hey, they got to do something to bridge the gap so that young people will get into it. The only way to do that is to win football games. I mean, every time we'd have this discussion with Floyd, it'd be the same every time. Win football games. Or what Green Bay's had, those fans have been fans for 100 years, and there is something to that. But I do think that if the Titan players and the coach really want that stadium, they really want people to go buy tickets, they need to get off their rear end, and they need to be the ones that tell people to do it. And I think they're afraid to do it because there's a backlash that comes with it. You get out there this week and you say, hey, we just beat the Bills and the Chiefs, everybody. Go buy your tickets for Jacksonville, and then you lose to the Colts. Every single person like me is going to be pointing a finger saying, why don't you worry about beating the Colts? Mm-hmm. And I get it. But that's the reality of the situation. So either don't complain about it or just know that this is what's going to happen. Chase is up next on the Titan fan base. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Chase.
What's up, Jared?
Hey.
I listen to your show every day, just mostly out of convenience because you're the one that's rambling on. I'm on my way to work. But anyways, I have a little bit to weigh in. I think that a lot of the problem has to do with people moving into Nashville and the Titans being the second fan base for everybody. And I think that the Titans are everybody's second team that lives here. Like Monday Night Football, of course I'm going to show out and I'm going to buy a ticket and I'm going to go to the game. And I'm going to go because it's a fun thing to do. How often do you get to see Monday Night Football?
Here's the problem, though, with what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But before Nashville became this huge destination, before they were this unbelievable transient city, they sold out the stadium. Like, it was sold out. Well, those people didn't all just die off and there not be more Titan fans that were born into Titan families. Like, if I had kids, for example, my gut tells me my kids would be rooting for the Titans.
Yeah.
So I like, that's where I find the flaw, which is, there's all these other people that come here and the Titans are the second team. What about the people that were selling out the stadium 15 years ago? They're still here.
Do you think that if the Titans made the Super Bowl this year, that we would sell out the stadium?
Yes.
In the playoffs?
Next, absolutely. Like, this is what I think would happen, which would be crazy. And I appreciate it.
But do you think that it would be full of fans or full of people that are traveling and just want to see a game?
I think it would be full of fans. Mm-hmm. Now, and I could be wrong. I don't know. The Titans have not hosted a home playoff game since that was not during a pandemic since 2002. So it's hard for me to judge. I mean, I remember being inside the club level. The Titans are playing a late game, like a 3:30 kick, and they needed the Steelers to lose in order to get the bye and a home game. And I remember all of us sitting inside the club level watching the Bengals beat the Steelers, and everybody was high-fiving each other because we knew that, okay, if the Titans in this game, then they're going to get home field throughout, or home field in the first game and a bye. And, like, they played the Steelers, and there was, like, few Steeler fans there, but it was a Titans home game. That was 2002. There has not been a home playoff game that wasn't last year in a pandemic since then. It's hard for me to judge. My guess would be that if the Titans, let's say the Titans are the number 1 seed in the AFC, that the Titans will, all the ticket holders will buy their tickets that are season ticket holders. Like, I would assume you're going to buy your tickets for the playoff games because you AFC championship game.
Yeah, of course.
Then they go on sale to the general public before anybody knows who is the playoff team. Then I think those people are going to want to go to the game and not sell their tickets. Sure, there will still be some visiting fans, but I think that for the most part, it will be Titans fans in a home Titan playoff game. But that is just an assumption that I am making because I feel, to me, I feel like that's what's going to happen. And I have no basis for that because they haven't had a home playoff game since I was in the 7th grade.
But a home playoff game is so cool, even if you are a transient Nashville resident right now, and the Titans aren't your team. A playoff NFL game in your city.
If the Titans get a home playoff game, and it's against a good fan base in the first round, which it could be Raiders, Steelers, Chiefs, Browns, and it's like 50-50, now you got problems. Now you got real problems. So,
because, a regular season game.
You got months and months to plan.
You got months to plan for it. The opposing team can come in and say, let's do a vacation in Nashville.
If I miss it, then I miss it, and there's another regular.
And if the Titans aren't your team and you live in Nashville, a regular season game may not be very attractive to you.
We got to get to Trevor Maddich, 615-737-1025. Trevor will join us next. His thoughts, crazy college football weekend. But first, Caroline wants to tell you about BetUS.
I want to tell you about my favorite sports book, and that is BetUS. The World Series starts tonight, so get in on the action and do it with BetUS. They've been America's favorite sports book for over 25 years, and that is exactly why I endorse them. They have integrity. They have longevity. They've been around for a long time, so you know that when you win with BetUS, you will get paid. Plus, they have everything. If you want to bet on MMA, golf, horses, esports, any crazy prop bets, you can do it with BetUS. So call them today, and they will walk you through setting up an account. All you have to do is call 1-800-79-BET-US. Their number is 1-800-79-BET-US. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. So if you join now, mention promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, you can get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. Nobody in the industry beats BetUS. I bet with them, and so should you. So go now to BetUS.com. Join today. Put in promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, for a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. That is BetUS.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen. There's so much to pay attention to.
Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Hahn from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Saturday means college football. Turn heads at the tailgate by showing up with plenty of frosty, refreshing Dos Equis. With its Pilsner style and smooth, clean finish, you won't want to put Dos Equis down. Good thing you have another hand for high fives and fist bumps. Look for the Dos Equis display wherever you load up for tailgating. Dos Equis, a proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Men, what if I told you that now you're able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMDformen.com.
It's the sound of the skates sliding on the ice. It's the rumble of music and vibration under your feet. It's the sea of gold sweeping across Bridgestone Arena. The Nashville Predators are back in action with the excitement you've been waiting for. These are the golden moments you do not want to miss. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to secure your seat. Grab your gold and show your pride because we're painting the town Preds. Smashville! It's time for Nashville Predators hockey. Visit NashvillePredators.com today.
Since their doors opened in 1898 in England, Arkansas, Bank of England Mortgage has been providing down-home exceptional service. Bank of England's success is due to the talent of their loan officers and their access to hundreds of mortgage products at the industry's best pricing. Bank of England Mortgage has 3 Middle Tennessee locations ready to serve you. Go to BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Wednesday night.
Now goes alone. He scores!
Nashville Soccer Club looks to lock up a playoff berth when they head north to face FC Cincinnati. Coverage begins at 6:15
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Tennessee played a close game with Alabama until the very end of the game on Saturday. I was actually impressed a little bit with Tennessee at the beginning. I was disappointed with Nick Saban at the beginning of the game on Saturday night. I mean, Greg McElroy's calling the game, and he's like, yeah, these guys aren't lined up. I mean, look at this. The guy's got outside leverage, and there's nobody in the middle. The guy just runs right in, touchdown Tennessee. And I'm like, Alabama's fumbling the football, and they're committing penalties. And I'm like, did Saban show up today? Because I felt that way in the A&M game that Alabama played. I'm like, did Nick Saban show up? What happened? Trevor Maddox joins us now here on the program, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. So, Trev, I want your initial takeaway from Tennessee, Alabama. And I want to know this. We've talked a lot about Josh Heupel and growth of the program and things of that magnitude. What did you make of Saturday's performance for the Vols, where they ended up not covering? The score looks like they got blown out, but it was a lot closer game.
It was a lot closer game, Jared. I mean, early in the fourth quarter, it was a one-score game. And then the wheels kind of came off, and Bama made some big plays, and that made it look different than it was. But they were right there. And Hendon Hooker, he was a trooper in this game. I mean, we always talk about QBR. I like to stay away from stats as much as possible, but stats sometimes can tell you a story. And so QBR is quarterback rating. It rates not just your throwing, but it rates when you make a big throw or when you miss one. And it rates running, and when you make a good run or when you make a bad run, it rates turnovers, your entire quarterback performance as it relates to winning the game. 100 is perfect, 50 is average. And Hendon Hooker in this game, banged up, was 74 out of 100 in quarterback rating. I mean, he played not just winning quarterback play, he was outstanding against Alabama. You know, the defense kind of fell apart there at the end and stuff. But I'll tell you what, with the running game that didn't really support him against the Bama defense that took away Tyon Evans and most of the running game, even Hendon Hooker didn't run very well. Of course, he's banged up. But overall, I was really impressed with the way that Tennessee went to Tuscaloosa, competed, and were in the game with Alabama in the fourth quarter.
Do you think minus a just wild loss to South Alabama or Vanderbilt or something like that, that there's anything that Josh Heupel could do at this point that would make this season not a success, given what we thought when the year started?
Well, you know, unless they just completely fall apart.
Right, like
right now they're 4-4, and right now they've got to come up with 2 more wins, right? But they've got South Alabama and Vanderbilt to finish the season. Georgia at home will be a tough one to win. And at Kentucky is about a pick 'em. You know, I'm not sure what the spread is there, but FPI ESPN's Football Power Index has that just a very slight edge to Kentucky. So, I think if they make a bowl game this year, considering all the other stuff that has happened, I think that this will be a successful season, and certainly it has been an exciting season. And that's the most important thing. Create some buzz, create some excitement, create a reason for fans and recruits to look at Tennessee differently than they've looked at the volunteer program for the last decade.
Trevor, I look at Tennessee right now, and I think back to what you said. I said at the beginning of the year, there's no excitement for Vol football this year. Like, there was just none. It just felt like there was nothing to get your hopes up on, and you say, hey, if they've got this explosive offense that they can sell to recruits, then they've got a shot to have something. Hendon Hooker is moving up the country as far as passing is concerned. If I mean, take some of the quarterbacks before the year that were the most hyped quarterbacks in the country. I think he'd be starting at Clemson today. I think he might be starting at Oklahoma today. I think there's certainly something there with Hendon Hooker. Do you think this can attract recruits this year to kind of line up to play offense for Josh Heupel?
Sure. I mean, Hendon Hooker's 12th. We talked about QBR. He's 12th in the nation in total QBR, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's ahead of guys like Brennan Armstrong of Virginia, who's got 3,000 yards passing, the only Power 5 quarterback to have over 3,000 yards so far. He's ahead of Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA. He's ahead of a bunch of guys that are really big-name good quarterbacks, and he's right up there tucked in with some of the best in the nation just behind him. So I think that if you're a receiver, you're looking at that going, yeah, this is what I want. At Virginia Tech, Hendon Hooker was an effective dual-threat quarterback, but he wasn't the effective passer that he's become under Coach Heupel. And so I think if you're a quarterback, you're thinking, okay, I can be developed like Hendon Hooker was. If you're a receiver, you're thinking, okay, this coach can develop a quarterback well enough to get the ball to me, and he will get the ball to me in an up-tempo offense that wants to push it down the field. And these are things that create that excitement. You start with the vaporware, right? You start with the promises from the coach. This is what we intend to do. This is what I did in the past. But Coach Heupel did it as an offensive coordinator in the SEC with Missouri, and now he's showing that he's turned the corner and that he's got the capability of doing it with Tennessee.
Alabama, when they're good, they're really good. We saw the Ole Miss game. When they're bad, they don't look like Alabama. They did not look like Alabama earlier this year against Florida when they pulled that game out of their rear end. They did not look like Alabama when they played Texas A&M and lost earlier this year. And I'd say for the first 2.5 quarters on Saturday, they didn't look like Alabama, Trev. I mentioned it that Greg McElroy was really, really hard on the fact that they weren't getting lined up properly and that he didn't like a lot of the technique that he saw from Alabama. Those seem to be things that no matter how good or bad you are, Nick Saban is not going to allow have happen. We always think Nick Saban's going to want to run the ball. We always think Nick Saban's going to want to play good defense. At times, Alabama doesn't do either. I'm having a hard time putting my finger down on how I feel about this Crimson Tide team, Trev.
Well, because you can't. You can't know how to feel about Alabama. I mean, when you look at the better teams that they've played, right? Let's look at Alabama's defense. Normally, we expect Alabama's defense to be consistent. Some years they have injuries. Some years they're more talented than others. But they're always consistent, and usually they're very, very good at one of the best defenses in the country at least, right? Mm-hmm. So the Florida game, they got pushed around. Then Ole Miss, they were dominant on defense. Texas A&M, pushed around and a whole bunch of missed assignments. Mississippi State, they crushed. And then against Tennessee, just like you mentioned that Greg McElroy was talking about, Alabama's defense once again was out of position a lot. There were plays where there were busted coverages. Now, that happens in college football. You'll have busted coverages from time to time. Some of that has to do with the offense because they'll put in formations or motions or something like that you didn't practice against, and they'll get you a time or two. But against Tennessee, it happened a lot. Against Texas A&M, it happened a lot. And, one of the plays that you didn't mention that it's going into a breakdown next time I do something on Alabama, because I've got an Alabama defensive up and down breakdown, mostly down, already ready to go. I've got the plays. We're just waiting for the week. And one of the plays is a pass play where Tennessee goes quickly. On the far right, you've got a receiver who's standing out there with a defensive back pressed up on the receiver, almost, just a few yards away, with his back to the receiver, looking to the sideline, literally facing the opposite direction. The ball snapped, and that receiver takes off, and I think it's the one where he scored that long touchdown. And so, Alabama really has a guy who is not paying attention whatsoever to the degree that he has his back to his man looking off to the sideline when the snap occurs, right? And so it's things like this that have happened to the Crimson Tide on defense that make it so that you are right in your initial assessment that you don't know what to think about them, because it depends on the week, whether or not they're really good or really bad.
Trev, what do we think of Harbaugh? I mean, I think we can go ahead and take Penn State out of the mix after their 9 overtime loss where they scored 18 points. Let's take them out. Harbaugh looks like Michigan State, the winner of that game. We'll get into that game, in a little bit. But it's kind of like people forgot about Harbaugh, because all those years people said Harbaugh is going to bring Michigan back, and then he never really did. He got him close one year, questionable call. They lost a game to Ohio State. It looks like Michigan is on the cusp of being back under Harbaugh, and nobody is talking about it. Are you taking the cheese on Michigan?
Well, I am believing in Michigan. Very few people are talking about it. I did a breakdown on their offense last week, for SportsCenter. And basically, in watching tape on these guys, Jared, I was expecting to look at why their running game so good. How come their passing game has improved, right? So I'm looking for storylines that can be illustrated with plays for a telestrator breakdown for SportsCenter. And all those things stood out. But what really jumped off the screen was that these guys are fun to watch. I mean, Michigan right now, they're fun to watch. There was a play where Hassan Haskins, running back, hurdled over a defender and stuck the landing and kept running, right? At the same time, A.J. Henning, wide receiver, was blocking on the third level and blocked his guy 50 yards down the field and completely out of bounds on the opposite side of the field, right? Mm-hmm. The plays that they're calling are designed in a way that's tricky. I mean, they do tricky stuff, and it's fun. Jim Harbaugh is having fun. He's having a good time, and that shows up in his players being more loose when they're playing. They're better when they're more loose instead of uptight, and their skill level is elevated. I mean, they've always had a pretty good, well, not always, but, usually have had a pretty good offensive line. This year's offensive line is one of the best in the country, I believe, for Michigan. But now at running back, at wide receiver, even without Bell, who got injured, and especially at quarterback, they're more capable than they have been in a long, long time. And so this Michigan team isn't just getting lucky by playing teams that they can bully ball, and then when they face a better team, they're in trouble. This team actually has a lot of different ways to have answers against better quality teams. They barely beat Nebraska. I get that, and they've had some tough games. But at the same time, they are able to throw the ball better than they have in the past. Their running game is more consistent and more explosive than it has been in the past. They've got more playmakers on defense than they have in the last couple of years. And so Michigan is a team that is legitimate. And, can they beat Ohio State? I don't know, but they might not need to. Because, you can make a case if Michigan wins out, and they beat a top 10 Michigan State this week, if they win out and lose a tight one to Ohio State at the end of the regular season, it's not out of the question that Michigan and Ohio State could both go to the playoff.
Trevor Matich is with us, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Coming up next, I've got 3 teams right now I think that can make the playoff. And then a giant question mark at 4. What does Trevor think? Plus, big game Michigan State versus Michigan. Florida plays Georgia. We got the USC coaching search. Now Texas Tech is open. A lot to get into with Trevor Matich. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies as we head into the evening hours for tonight. Temperatures expecting to be chilly for early Wednesday morning, dropping back to the low 40s. Upper 60s with sunshine on the way for Wednesday afternoon. I'm Fox 17 Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
You may have heard that Allstate has new low auto rates, but isn't it time to see for yourself? Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The Wave technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
The 2021 Major League Soccer season isn't over yet, Nashville. Are you in? There's just one regular season home match remaining as we make our final push for a playoff spot. Don't miss the action on Sunday, November 7th at 2:30 p.m. against New York Red Bulls at Nissan Stadium. Come be a part of the most unique sports experience in Nashville. Tickets are on sale now from just $22 at NashvilleSC.com. Everyone in.
How'd you like that?
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue, so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water.
Yeah.
Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rexrode.
That was fun. That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman & Company live from Bridgestone Arena, presented by Hermitage Design Center. Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. Trevor Maddich is our guest, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. The latest AP Top 25 is out, and they've got Oklahoma at 4. And I saw that on Saturday they had to send a student alert out at Kansas at halftime. Hey, we're opening the gates, no tickets needed, anybody, come one, come all, because we might beat Oklahoma. And then Oklahoma ended up figuring it out. But I have no faith in Oklahoma, Trevor. I look at the college football playoff. Georgia will be in, we would assume. Georgia is in. Cincinnati is probably in. Then the winner of the Big Ten, Michigan, Michigan State, or Ohio State, I think is probably in. Maybe even Iowa. Then who's 4? Because I cannot put Oklahoma in, Trevor. Who would you put in?
Well, the 4 spot is going to be tough because after Georgia, you don't know who to put there. Alabama, I think you can make a good case. Cincinnati, though, is a team that, Jared, I think they still need help. Because with Oklahoma resurgent on offense, at least, the committee might have a chance to look at Oklahoma and say, you know what, they're more of the team that we expected them to be. If Oregon wins out and wins the Pac-12 championship, but they're just barely surviving and advancing right now. But if they do, they've got the best non-conference win in all of college football right now in week 2 against Ohio State. And so would the committee say, okay, one-loss Oregon, who lost that game to Stanford, by the way, with about half their starting lineup out. They had like 10 guys injured for all or part of that game. But would the committee look at Oregon's schedule and their best win and say, yeah, that supersedes what Cincinnati's been able to do? That's why Cincinnati needs Notre Dame to keep winning. I mean, Cincinnati really needs Notre Dame to keep winning. So who would I put in number 4? Tell me your first 3 again.
So you're going to say, so I think Georgia and Cincinnati are winning their in. So if they win out, I think Georgia and Cincinnati are in. Now, you brought up the Cincinnati thing, which I think is interesting. Then I think the winner of the Big Ten, Michigan State, Ohio State, or Iowa, if they finish with one loss, I think that team is in. Yep. Then I've got a 4th spot, which is the question mark. So it'd be Alabama or Oregon or Oklahoma, which I can't see Oklahoma getting in.
Well, if Georgia wins out, then Alabama's out. You know, there's never been a 2-loss team in the playoff, although if there was a year to do it, this would be the year, just because there's been so much chaos at the top, and the spot that's normally reserved for Clemson is now open. But I think if Georgia beats Alabama, they're out. If Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, then Cincinnati's out, because then Bama and Georgia will both be in. And so I think that would be really bad for Cincinnati. Oklahoma, I can see them in there, because they still have big games coming up, at least 1, maybe 2, depending on who makes the championship game, against Oklahoma State and Baylor.
But don't they stink, Trevor? Like, you watch them, they stink.
Yes. No, you're right. They put themselves in that position because they not only haven't looked dominant, I mean, I think 5 of their Power 5 wins this year, 5 out of 7 are FBS wins, are by 1 score. And so they haven't been dominant. You mentioned that Kansas game. Kansas's defense was dominating Oklahoma's offense in the first half of that game. Kansas's offense was dominating Oklahoma's defense for most of that game, right? And that's a bad look. It really, if it weren't for Caleb Williams, a quarterback in the 4th quarter, making massive plays on his own on 4th down, I mean, massive, unusual plays, Heisman caliber plays, they would not have beaten Kansas. They probably wouldn't have beaten Texas either, because he came off the bench to lead them to victory over the Longhorns. So you're right that Oklahoma is not making a case that it is a dominant team. The difference is, though, that with the switch at quarterback, it is very possible that they could play much, much, much better down the stretch. So we'll see about that. But who could it be? It could be Oklahoma. It could be Oregon. I tend to think that if it's between Oklahoma and Oregon, if they both win out, they would give the nod to Oregon because of the non-conference win over Ohio State, especially if Ohio State wins out and wins the Big Ten.
Well, none of that. Oregon may have the best player in the country. And I still struggle. Like, it's a subjective group, right? It's 14 people that decide on these 4 spots. I mean, if it's subjective, I don't see how you could put Oklahoma into the playoff over Cincinnati. And if they do put Oklahoma in the playoff over Cincinnati, I think it's a travesty.
Yeah, it'll all depend on Notre Dame, really, because Notre Dame right now sits there with 1 loss. And in last week's game against USC, they switched up the offense. Instead of being a methodical offense with Jack Cohn back there running everything slowly but theoretically well, they sped it up. They put him back into shotgun. They had very quick reads and run-pass options, et cetera. 1 read, go, right? And they sped everything up, and they did much better on offense against USC than they've really done against anybody all year long that's had a pulse. And so maybe that will help to be a catalyst for Notre Dame to win out. But if Notre Dame wins out, then that's where the committee will hang their hat when it comes to Cincinnati. It'll be that Notre Dame thing.
Trevor Maddich with us. Trev, apparently the Atlanta Braves have never made the World Series in a year in which Georgia has beaten Florida. That, I guess, is what Florida fans are saying. The Braves obviously making the World Series. They'll play tonight. They play this week. I give Florida no chance to win this game. How do you see that shaking out?
No chance is right. I mean, only Georgia can beat Georgia in this game. And the Braves, The only way that they could have an influence on this game is if they could block Jordan Davis, which would potentially allow Florida to win. But Florida problem is their offense in passing is not very effective. They're just not effective. They're not efficient. They're hit and miss. When they're on, they're pretty good. When they're not, they're terrible. The running game is going to go nowhere against Georgia. I mean, they'll just get absolutely stopped cold. So they'll need to throw the ball, and I don't think they'll be able to do it. So I agree with you. I think Georgia will stomp Florida and continue on this path towards being one of the potentially greatest teams we've seen in many, many, many years.
Game of the week, Michigan State. I think everyone's shocked by what Mel Tucker's doing at Michigan State. Is this are they for real game for Harbaugh?
Yes, it's for both of them, actually, because this Michigan State team can beat Michigan. They have an offense that is more explosive than Michigan. It's not as methodical, but it's more explosive in terms of getting big plays down the field. And so that's a danger for Michigan. At the same time, though, Michigan's defense is better. And Michigan State's defense is bend but don't break, and they bend a lot. I mean a lot. And Michigan has the kind of running offense to pound it in there when they get into the red zone and make it bend and break, right? And if Michigan's able to do that, it would be a quality win, and same thing for vice versa. This is a massive game in the Big Ten. But the thing is, Mel Tucker, he's a candidate. He's been mentioned after just 2 years now at Michigan State as possibly a replacement for Ed Orgeron in LSU and for some other places. He's kind of tamping those expectations down in the lead up to this game against Michigan. But he really did it through the transfer portal. And that's something we could talk about another day, because what he did is going to be a model that will be studied by other colleges. Either way, this massive game here could go either way, and I don't know yet which side I'm going to pick.
That's crazy. I mean, that we would be, I don't think anyone thought that we'd be talking about Michigan State. I think both teams very much alive for the playoff. Trevor Mattich, as always, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, we appreciate it. We'll look forward to those breakdowns on SportsCenter.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Mattich joining us on the program. Surely they're going to put Cincinnati in over Oklahoma, right?
I mean, how could they not?
I'm done with the committee if Oklahoma gets in over Cincinnati. I'm done. I am done with college football because of the committee, because it's all bullcrap. If Oklahoma stinks, if Oklahoma gets in over, if they were to play on a neutral field today, what would you make the line?
Probably Cincinnati minus 11.5.
I literally thought 11.
Yeah.
I literally thought 11.
I mean, I think Cincinnati could beat them handedly. And it seems like every single week in and week out, Oklahoma is down to some crap Big 12 team, and they just happen to get lucky and win at the end. I mean, it happened with Tulane. It happened with West Virginia. It happened this past week. It's so frustrating. Oklahoma is not a 7-0, 8-0 team. They're not. They're not that good.
They stink. Coming up next here on the program, the numbers might be a little bit in the Titans' favor. That's right. Might be a little bit in the Titans' favor for what is maybe the most coveted thing in the AFC. You think, what could that be? We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, we're live from Bridgestone Arena, presented by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are two guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Fiero Tequila Habanero is for those who enjoy the flavor of spice, naturally infused with fresh, vine-ripened peppers from farmers in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Fiero Tequila Habanero is unapologetically the spiciest infused tequila available in the U.S. The hand-picked habaneros provide a delicious kick to the smooth Blanco tequila. It's a flavor punch that's perfect as a shot, or a spicy way to spice up your hard seltzer, or perfect for a fiery cocktail. Available at fine liquor stores and your favorite drinking establishments. Fiero Tequila, the world belongs to the brave.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body, and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Quration CBD. Quration means healing, and that right there says it all. Quration is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Quration is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets too. Order yours now at QurationCompany.com. Quration CBD, curated for life.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, the best training and training the best.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use. Only down payment and required some restrictions apply. See store for details.
1025 The Game has your chance to win Preds tickets all month long. Just post a picture of your radio dial set to 1025 The Game on social media and tag the game and use hashtag TicketDash to be instantly qualified. All brought to you by Social Furniture. Shop local. Shop social.
Halloween is here, and that means scary low prices at Electronic Express. Save big on the best 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. Keep an eye on your kids and your home with smart security from Ring, Arlo, and Night Owl. Appliances are covered with up to 50% off, in stock, and ready to deliver with up to 36 months free financing. Get spooky low prices this Halloween at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
1025 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live at Bridgestone Arena, brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. So, everybody loves doing this when you win a big game. And they love talking about, okay, who do you think could win? The Bengals or the Buccaneers? The Bengals, because the Bengals are the hot team right now. Mm-hmm. The Bengals or the Cardinals? If I were to ask you, are the Bengals a Super Bowl contender? You would take a look at the Bengals and you'd say, well, I don't think they're better than Buffalo. I'm not sure if they're better than the Titans. I'm not sure if they're better than Arizona. I'm not sure if they're better than Tampa Bay. I'm not sure if they're better than Green Bay. But guess what? In order to win the Super Bowl, they may not play any of those teams. 2 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs, when they won the Super Bowl, played the Houston Texans, the Titans, and the 49ers. They didn't play some great team. They missed out on Brady and Belichick. They didn't have to go to Lamar and Baltimore. And that's the crazy thing about the playoffs, is we could sit there and say, hey, you know, what about this? What about that? The key is always the road. What is the road to the Super Bowl? The Titans may not want to talk Super Bowl and the road to the Super Bowl after beating the Bills and the Chiefs, but I think it's very much in play. 538, the polling prediction website, 538, has the top two teams most likely to hoist the number one seed in the AFC. The Bills are first at 26%.
You said 55.
I said 55.
Yeah.
No, that was what I said.
Yeah, like your opinion was 55.
Right.
Yeah.
But like this is, I mean, there's still like a chance like maybe Jacksonville can get the first. You know, like there's.
Right.
The Bills sit there at 26%. The Titans at 17%. So the Titans are have the second highest odds to have the number one seed in the AFC playoffs. If the AFC playoffs were today and the Raiders are ahead of the Chargers only because they've won one more game, so I'm putting the Chargers back in there because they've
But
already
the Chargers
beaten
had a bye week, so that's not necessarily fair.
The Bengals are the number 1 seed. The Chargers are the number 2 seed. Titans the 3, Bills the 4. Again, we're elevating the Chargers. Ravens would sit there at 5. Raiders would be at 5. Ravens would be at 6. Browns would be at 7 at 4 and 3. The road to the Super Bowl for the Titans, if they could get the 1 seed, could in theory be the Chargers winning one of those games, the Ravens in the 5-4 matchup beating the Bills. Now you don't have to worry about Buffalo. The Browns maybe win a game. Maybe the Browns don't make it. The Steelers do, or the Patriots do, or even the Colts do, who are all ahead of the Chiefs. And you may not have to play a lot of these great teams. You may end up making it to the Super Bowl being the 1 seed, and you may make it by playing the Raiders in the first game and the Ravens in the second game, and you avoid Justin Herbert, and you avoid having to play that Cleveland defense, and there is a lot on the table with having the first round bye. And you wouldn't have to go to Buffalo. You wouldn't have to go to Baltimore.
Two cold places in January.
Go to Los Angeles, all the way across the country. So what do we think of the Titans' chances, not as the best team in the AFC, but what do we think of their chances to get the top seed in the AFC and what that could mean for the Titans?
You said currently the Bengals are sitting at 1 here.
At 5-2, the Bengals are first, and technically the Raiders are second at 5-2 as well.
So here's
Which doesn't make any sense to me because they lost to the Chargers, right?
They did.
And so that would be a division loss.
Yes. But the Chargers, again, had that bye week, so they're sitting at 4-2.
But I'm talking about like the Raiders are at 2, but they've lost a division game. The Titans haven't lost a division game.
Correct.
So I'm not sure exactly how they have the Raiders ahead of the Titans, but they do. But yes, Bengals, Raiders, Titans, Bills is officially how it is right now.
So, I mean, I hear all the Bengals hype, and I think that they are so worthy of the hype because they just stomped all over Lamar and the Ravens. But if you look at the rest of their schedule, they have to beat the Browns twice, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. Now, I know we aren't as high on the Chiefs as we were coming into this season, but I am not counting out the fact that Patrick Mahomes could turn this team around. And the Bengals play the Chiefs later on in the season.
Well, the Bengals aren't going to win all those games.
Yes, I know, but that is what they have left on their schedule.
But that's what they're going to have to do.
Yes.
Because here's the Bills' schedule for the rest of the way. And this is where it gets really important and this is why Buffalo has the best odds, even though they're currently the 4th team in the AFC.
They have an easy schedule.
Buffalo, because it's all Jets and it's all Patriots and it's all... So Buffalo's schedule the rest of the way.
The hardest team they have left is the Buccaneers.
And that's the one
NFC
game they
game.
have. But it is New England, it is New Orleans, it's a lot like the Titans schedule. The Titans have the Rams left. That's it.
And the Colts.
Well, I mean, I don't think we can really start talking division until they start talking about seeding and meaning it until they beat the Colts. Because if you lose next week, then I got to start worrying about the division again. And if they win this week, which they should win at Indianapolis, and we should put pressure on the Titans to win this game, and there should be an expectation that they're going to win this game. But if they don't, then we do have to worry about the possibility of the Colts winning the division, which is really embarrassing because the Colts stink. But if you get past the Colts, then there's really only one game of serious note, which is the Rams. Here's the thing, though. The rest of the schedule for the Titans: Saints suck, Texans suck, Patriots, we'll see with the Patriots. I think they're getting better. So that game's at New England. They got Belichick. I ain't going to rule that out. Jacksonville sucks. Steelers, they don't suck, but they're not very good. 49ers suck. Dolphins suck. Texans suck. I mean, if you, once you get past the Rams, other than that Patriot game, other than one of the Patriot or Steeler games, you shouldn't lose. And maybe even then you shouldn't lose. If you're truly a great team. It gives you a legitimate shot at getting that 1 seed. You got to win this week. Got to win this week. But it gives you a legitimate chance of getting that 1 seed. And I do wonder if the Titans get the 1 seed, if that enhances their chances of going to and winning a Super Bowl way more than if they're 2, 3, or 4 just simply because of the road it would take in order to get to the Super Bowl.
I mean, getting that bye, I think, is invaluable. It's a week where, first of all, you can't screw anything up. It's a week of rest, and it's a week where you won't have to face a potentially good team.
Titans have had the bye 3 times. They have lost in the first game once, and they have never gone to the Super Bowl with the bye.
I mean, but are we going to use that? Are we going to let the history books decide what we're thinking?
No, I will always take the bye.
But it is something to take into consideration.
I will always take the bye over not taking the bye.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I contend that in the 2019 playoffs, that Kansas City, the run to the AFC title game, I thought it was pretty obvious that Kansas City had that extra week off when the Titans played them in the AFC Championship game, and that it caught up with the Titans. I just think it's the road because everybody else has to play a game that you don't have to play. So the number 2 seed in the playoffs could be Buffalo. They could, in theory, host Kansas City in the first round of the AFC playoffs. And they could lose that game. And then you don't have to play the number 2 team. Like, that's a big thing, that you avoid that first round. So you don't lose in that first. Then you get the worst team that's left in that first game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you play whoever's standing in that second game, but it's going to be at home. So, I mean, I think the Titans have a chance. Here's the one thing, though. The likelihood of the Titans screwing up one of these games along the way is so high, just given the fact that it's the Titans. And I can't put this on the Bills and say, well, okay, the Bills play. Here's the Bills' schedule the rest of the way, according to my math. Their schedule the rest of the way is the Dolphins, they'll win,
Mm-hmm.
at the Jags,
They'll
at
win.
the Jets,
They'll win.
Indianapolis.
They
probably
should win.
But maybe not. You know,
This is the NFL.
At the Saints.
Should win that one. Could
But
be a toss-up.
The Saints are awful. I mean, that game yesterday was terrible.
It was
That's a Thursday
bad.
night game, just an FYI.
Thursday nighter against
Short
the Saints.
rest.
Oh, great. We get to watch more Jameis Winston on TV. That's the Thanksgiving game.
That is the Thanksgiving game.
I just saw it was on NBC. Patriots. I mean, the Patriots aren't that bad. At the Bucks, Buffalo is notorious for not being good in warm weather cities in December.
Which is so funny.
Well, the warm weather teams aren't good going to them.
But that makes sense to me.
Then Carolina at the Patriots, and then the Falcons. I mean, I could see, just like I can see a slip-up from the Titans, I can see a slip-up from the Bills.
I mean, yeah, they absolutely could get tripped up.
So-
Could overlook certain games and drop games that they weren't supposed to.
I mean, I think there's a chance that if the Titans can win this week against Indianapolis, that then we can very seriously talk about getting the number 1 seed and the benefits that come with the number 1 seed. Now, again, Titans have had the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs twice. They're 0-2. So, the last home game they played in the playoffs, they lost to the Ravens. The last home game before that, 2008, they played the Ravens. They lost to the Ravens. So there's no guarantees here, but it does seem like the number 1 seed, if they beat Indianapolis this week, is a legitimate possibility.
But that's just what makes me nervous about having this conversation right now, because it seems like these are all very plausible scenarios for the Titans of possibly getting a first round bye or so on and so forth, looking at the rest of the Titans schedule. But there's such a big if on that Indianapolis game. The Titans should win this game.
Speaking of nervous and this Colts game, you are not the only person. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell everybody out there, tomorrow it's your chance to participate in the Nashville SC Pick to Click, brought to you by Camarena Tequila. If you guess correctly which player scores a goal in the game tomorrow, you win a pair of tickets to see a Nashville SC game against the New York Red Bull on Nissan Stadium November 7th at Nissan Stadium. Participate tomorrow morning at 9:45 a.m. Oh, by the way, also, 1025 The Game has your chance to win Preds tickets during the month of October. Just post a picture of your radio dial set to 1025 The Game on social media and tag the game and use hashtag TicketDash to be instantly qualified to win. Show us your dash, brought to you by Social Furniture. Support local, support social.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center. The Preds look for back-to-back victories when they host the Sharks.
If you stay with it, which our guys did, you're eventually going to get rewarded.
Pregame at 6:30. Face-off at 7:30. On Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Gas!
Iron. Lift that cast iron. You're doing good.
Hey, hon. Sweetie.
Yeah, hon.
I need to make dinner. I need that pan.
You can't always do home workouts how you'd want, but now you can sip what you want. Heineken 0.0. It tastes great, only has 69 calories, and absolutely zero alcohol.
Well, here, lift these. 2 Heineken 0.0s.
Oh, right. Dumbbells I can drink. Sip. Zero.
Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy responsibly.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
The fans are back and Bridgestone Arena is full. 17,159 Preds fans in gold. Watch your Nashville Predators take on the San Jose Sharks and New York Islanders live from Smashville. Join us October 26th and 30th. NashvillePredators.com/tickets to secure your seat now. We need you there, loud and proud. It's the Preds against the Sharks and Islanders. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Bull & Branch. No one wants to cut corners on what's important, and few things matter more than a good night's sleep. That's right. That's why I'm glad that I use Bull & Branch's signature sheets. They feel so soft and they're light, you'll forget you're not actually sleeping on a cloud, because that's what it feels like. And they're sustainably made for uncompromising quality from field to factory. I've had my sheets now for almost a month, and every time I sleep on them, I realize how lucky I am because they are so soft and so comfortable. And no, this is not a lie. I absolutely love them so much so that if I don't sleep on them, I'm really truly missing my Bull & Branch sheets. Their signature Him sheets from Bull & Branch are a bestseller for a reason. Buttery soft, lightweight feel, organic cotton, and a classic satin weave for sheets that get softer over time. Experience the best sheets you've ever felt at BullandBranch.com. Get 20% off your first set of sheets when you use the promo code JARED, J-A-R-E-D, at checkout. That's Bull & Branch, B-O-L-L-A-N-D branch.com, promo code JARED for Bull & Branch.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Technically not even the halfway point, but when you look at the standings with you and the Colts, you have a chance to really take a stranglehold of this division on Sunday. Do you address that with the team or talk about the importance of that, or is it still too early from your mind?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you play a division opponent, I think you have a chance to do that, right? You can make up a lot of ground, or you can, probably put a little bit of separation in between you and them by, the fact that, whether you win it or lose it. So I think that that's always something that we talk about as critical in division games is, the ability to start, separating yourself if you're able to win.
That was Mike Vrabel. Big separation game for the Titans this week against the Colts. I have contended that if they beat the Colts this week, the AFC South is effectively over, and it's not even Halloween. Although I guess that would technically be Halloween. But it wouldn't even be Halloween night. The kids would not have trick or treated.
Neither.
By the time the Titans have essentially wrapped up the AFC South. Forget about Thanksgiving. Last year it was after New Year's. Now you're talking, we're skipping Thanksgiving, we're skipping Christmas, we're skipping New Year, just go right to the division. So I was on the phone with my dad yesterday, and he is, a lot of people are going to say like, yo, okay, you know, this is something Jared would say, and that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Except that my dad, as much as you all think about some of the things that I say as crazy or kooky or off the wall, everything you think, he thinks times 10. So if you think that I said something stupid, then multiply that by 10, and that's how he feels. So when he feels the same way I feel about the Titans on something, that's when I know it's for real. And yesterday he told me, my dad said, oh, we're going to lose. I said, what? He goes, oh, we're definitely going to lose. I know. I know in my heart the Titans are going to lose. I said, are you serious? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, come on now. It's the Titans. They can't live with prosperity for far too long. And I will say this. I have not made my pick on this Titans-Colts game yet. I will make mine on Thursday, which will be revealed on Friday. But I think there's going to be a lot of Titan fans who are very nervous about this Indianapolis game. Very much like my dad looking at this thinking, I don't know, because far too many times the Titans get you really high and then, boom, sink you. In fact, 3 years ago, the Titans won a Monday night game against the Dallas Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys were good then. Won a Monday night game against the Cowboys. Short week, the New England Patriots coming to town, coming off of a Super Bowl loss. So a Monday night win over a good team, followed by the defending Super Bowl champions coming to Nissan Stadium. Sound familiar?
It does sound familiar.
Or excuse me, the defending AFC champions coming to. Sound familiar? Okay, Titans smoked New England. Got embarrassed by the Colts the next week. Now, the Titans didn't play well in that game, and that Indy team had Andrew Luck. And the guy that Indy has now is not Andrew Luck. But I understand where my dad is coming from. Now, I'm not sure he wants me putting his business out there, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm not sure he wants that. But he is convinced they're going to lose this week. I'm not sure of it yet. But I think there's a lot of Titan fans like him out there.
Well, when I first started covering this team, you would say, well, it's the Titans. And I was like, that is such a lame excuse. Like, that is such a lame thing to say. But the more and more I cover this team and the more and more I learn about this team, the more and more I think, well, yeah, of course the Titans are going to beat the Bills on Monday Night Football because it's the Titans. It's just they do the things that you don't expect them to do. Of course, they're going to hold Patrick Mahomes to fewer points than he's ever been held to since he was named the starter for the Kansas City Chiefs. Because they're the Titans. That's just what they do. They come in and they do the unexpected. Now, I think that the Titans are better on every side of the ball. From what they've seen, from what they've shown so far this season, the Titans are a better team than the Colts. But I do wonder about, to a caller's point earlier, saying that the Bengals don't necessarily know how to handle success. I think the Titans know how to handle success, but I do wonder how they handled these past two wins, mentally speaking.
Ryan Porth has texted me and says, I'm expecting a loss, but I always expect a loss versus Indianapolis. I mean, I'm going to say this. The Titans, and they tried after the game was over against Kansas City to, like, not get too high, not get a Super Bowl, not any of that stuff. They did that, and I don't know if they were just trying to, like, talk themselves into it. They do not need to talk the fans into the idea that they could lose to Indianapolis this weekend because the fans know they could lose to Indianapolis. I mean, like, I think the fans, and I am a fan, I think the fans are looking at this game like, guys, you got so much in front of you. Please don't screw it up.
Just win this game.
But we've seen you screw it up so many times that we are expecting you to screw it up. I think there is a part of that.
I mean, I'd be fine if the Titans lose to the 49ers on Thursday Night Football or to the Rams in Los Angeles. Do it.
I would not be okay with losing to the 49ers on Thursday Night Football.
If it meant that, like,
because they freaking suck.
The Titans would beat the Colts handedly and lock up the AFC South.
Well, this game's more important than any other game on the schedule. I mean, any other game, and it's not because it's the next one, but it is. But, like, any game. Like, you're talking about, well, it's an NFC game, you lose the 49ers. Yeah. Any game. This game is bigger than the Steeler game. It's bigger than the Patriot game. It's bigger than the Jags game. The division is over if you win this game. Over. Like, there is no chance Indianapolis comes back and wins if they lose this game to the Titans on Sunday. They will essentially be 5 games behind the Titans entering November.
With every tiebreaker.
Well, the only one that matters.
Yeah.
Which is
the
between
only one those two.
And Jacksonville is still on the schedule, and 2 Houstons. I mean, I think I did the math the other day with the games that are left on Indy's schedule. I can't foresee them finding their way around 8 losses. Well, if you win this game, you have the tiebreaker. You're not going to lose 8 games. So, I mean, this is a big one from that regard. Let's go to your phones. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Sorry about that, Dad, by the way. And I'll be seeing him in a little bit, but sorry about, putting the business out there like that. But, he just doesn't think the Titans are going to win. What do we have?
Well, that's right. That's his prediction. One texter texts in and says, I have a weird feeling the Titans will lose to the Colts because of a bunch of stupid mistakes that they've made in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like Ryan's point, right? Which was he feels like, they're going to lose because it's the Colts. And everybody has seen, Marcus Mariota spike the ball on 3rd down. And we've seen all that. So once you see all that, you're kind of used to it. And it does kind of feel like that's the direction that the Titans happen to put themselves in far too often. Hal Gill will join us next. Predators, big win on Sunday. Predators kind of getting their feet under them. We will talk to Hal about that coming up next. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. TriStar Moving, my official movers. I absolutely love TriStar Moving. I moved with them almost a year ago, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made because they made moving a breeze. I hate moving, but they made it a lot easier. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, they did it all. Offering home protection, taking care of my old home and my new home as we moved, and it was as seamless as possible. My mattresses were put into bags and TVs into protected boxes. They have a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet, and they do it all. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians, and they want to help out their hometown, which is why their company, TriStar Moving, is on the rise and on the rise quickly. It is a very high standard that they hold, which is why they say TriStar Moving with 5-star service. If you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website, nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Tonight.
Oh, the rebound just shoveled wide, and then they bank it in. Philip Tomasino.
The Nashville Predators are back on home ice in Smashville to take on the San Jose Sharks in Western Conference action. Pre-game at 6:30, face-off at 7:30 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Even with the national supply shortage, Hi-Fi Buys retail store stocked up months ago. For this week's 44th anniversary, we have a huge in-stock selection of 4 and 8K TVs, projectors, speakers, soundbars, subwoofers, streaming players, and more. And because we planned ahead for this event, we made special purchases before most manufacturer prices increased. Now, we're passing those savings on to you. Let's talk TVs. We have nearly every Sony TV in stock, plus great prices on Samsung, LG, Sierra. Some year-end models we're practically giving away. Do not wait. Shop for the holidays now. Shortages are happening and prices are going up. Get the best for less now. At Hi-Fi Buys, when we have a sale, it's a real deal. Just the very best quality for the very best price. Some sale prices can't be displayed. See sales associate for your special price. Get over to Hi-Fi Buys 44th anniversary sale. This week only. This sale will not be extended. Hi-Fi Buys. See us on Nolensville Road or HiFiBuysNashville.com.
Custom division, special order manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Every Saturday morning at 9, we hit the big topics. The Ally 400, Kyle Busch, frustrated, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and talk to the big names.
I'll go ahead and blame you.
Oh, I think it's big.
Could go a lot of different directions right now.
I was so impressed.
How cool that's going to be.
It's Chasing Checkers, Saturday morning at 9 on ESPN 102.5 The Game, and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
So today, I think at about 7:30, there's going to be a lot of people in my dad's demographic that are going to have an issue trying to find a Predators game. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. So if you're an ESPN Plus subscriber, you'll have it. I'm a Plus subscriber. You're a Plus subscriber. Mm-hmm. It's great. You can read all these articles and everything else. But if you think you're like going to go to your TV and turn on, channel 38 or whatever channel the game's on, it's not going to be on that. So that's part of the new deal with ESPN that, increases hockey revenues and things like that. And that's why they sign these deals, and that's why they want it, because they want you to sign up for ESPN Plus. So the advice that I have for everybody is tap the app. The Game Nashville app will have the game, the TuneIn Radio app, 102.5, and, of course, your actual radio that you can still use. And Hal Gill will be on the call, and he joins us now on the program. Hal, a up-and-down weekend for the Predators. I thought a great game on Sunday that they can really build off of. But so far, it feels like, in some games they get great goaltending but not great offense. In some games they get great offense, or one line plays really well, but they don't get anything from anybody else. It just feels like the Predators so far through the first couple of weeks are maybe missing a little something or need a little something, a little spark to get going. What do you see with the Predators right now?
Yeah, they got to put it all together. I mean, that's the hard part, right? Is I feel like for a good chunk of the games, they were playing really solid defense, really stingy, hard to play against, but they weren't getting the scoring. And then in Winnipeg, the kids came alive. Novak had a heck of a game with 3 assists, and Tomasino got on the board. And you're going, okay, the young guys can play, but they lost that game. And then you go to Minnesota. I thought that was probably their most complete game, and you got scoring from the top guys, which is encouraging. So if they can put it all together and figure out how to play that lockdown defense, get the young guys to start scoring again, and keep their big guns scoring, this could be a heck of a team, but it's a lot easier said than done. They just got to find that right mix.
What do you think so far of Tomasino, Hal? I'm kind of like zeroed in on him. I was furious that they benched him after one game. Then they finally got to their senses, put him back out there, and he looks like I can see why you would be hesitant to play him at certain times, because there are some elements of his game that seem a little sloppy, but at the same time, I mean, he really has played really well over the last week, and I'm really encouraged by what I've seen from Tomasino.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to him on Smashville Live. You can just see the excitement, and everyone I've talked to about him and about his game, he's so excited to learn every day, and so I think we have to be patient with him, but you can see the skill there. He's just got to bring it consistently and bring his defensive game. There's a lot of like little details, and when you talk to those guys, they do talk about the details, the little things that you can't mess up in the NHL. You can mess up a little bit in the AHL, and you can recover. In the NHL, if you're a little bit off, you're done. You're way off. So you can see him developing that game and learning. But it's kind of fun to be around a kid who's so excited to learn, and then you see the upside, and that's what you're talking about, that offensive upside that he brings to the table, and I think that's going to be fun to watch develop, and as he kind of grows into a complete player, you're going to see that offensive upside in spurts. And that's going to be what gets Preds fans fired up.
What do you think right now the team is missing?
I don't think they're missing anything. It's just I feel like the defensive zone is there. It was sloppy in Winnipeg, and they kind of let it get away. It was just a sloppy game in general, and it got away from them. But for the most part, the defensive game has been there, and they just got to put it together. And I think when you play a good structured defensive game, sometimes you forget about the offense and you're not as creative. But I feel like the creativity was there in Minnesota, and if they can build off that offensive creativity as well as have that back-end defensive mindset, sometimes it's hard to put those two together, but I think they have both aspects there. They just got to pull it into a full game and play a full 60 minutes, 200 foot. How many other cliches can I throw at you? They just got to put it all together and find a way to win games.
Hal Gill is our guest here on the program. Hal, we're 6 games into the season. How many games do you think we should wait before we have a feel for what the Predators are or aren't?
I always say 10 games is you get a good grasp of what your team is. Around 5 games, you say, okay, this is what we have. And that's why I say at 6 games, we can look back and say, okay, this game was that game was that. But once you get to 10 games, you should have everything in order and find out where you guys slot in and who's going to be effective. And then you can start to make decisions. If I'm a GM, I look at 10 games and say, that's my benchmark.
Hal, tonight, the Predators take on the San Jose Sharks. A surprise, at least an early surprise to your point. It hasn't been 10 games. But what kind of is standing out to you when you watch this game that you're kind of going to be focused on?
Well, I do think because the Preds have been inconsistent and what they've been doing, I still think it's about the Preds. I'm not sold on the Sharks yet. I think when you look up and down their lineup, obviously their defense stand out. They got some older guys that haven't performed. Like Erik Karlsson is still one of the best defensemen in the game. Brent Burns is a stud. So I'm anxious to see how those guys are still playing. But there's been a lot of distractions there too, with Evander Kane being suspended for overall buffoonery. With his COVID situation.
I feel like with Evander Kane, he's like one more suspension away from the Lifetime Achievement Award.
It's remarkable. Like he just can't stay off the radar. Like just hide for a while and don't do anything wrong. Could you just do that for a season? That would be great. But I feel like that's been a distraction. So maybe this team is legit. We get to see our old friend Nick Bonino, and I'm excited to watch him play. Other than that, I don't know much about San Jose. It's kind of crazy. This season has already been so. I'm learning a lot from each team because you learn about these guys and you look at their stats, but you don't really know until you see some of these younger guys play.
Mm-hmm. Hal Gill, as always. Hal, appreciate it. We will talk to you soon. Have a great call tonight.
All right. Thanks for having me. Hi, Caroline. Hope you have a great night.
Hey, Hal. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Hey, Hal needs to rest those pipes up because they're going to be a lot of people at 7:30 that are looking for the game tonight that are like, where's the game? And it's like, it's on ESPN Plus. And I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm not sure Floyd would have watched today's game. There's no way. Ian, could you imagine trying to get Floyd to watch a hockey game on ESPN Plus?
Only if his son set it up for him.
Only if his son set it up for him. So, I mean, I think in that case, I'm just telling everybody right now, just download the app, the Game Nashville app, the TuneIn Radio app. There's going to be a handful of these games throughout the course of the year that are going to be on ESPN Plus. If you don't want to buy ESPN Plus, listen to the game. And I think most people have a radio. So just, pull out the radio.
Most people have cars. They have radios. You could have another different type of radio. You have an app. Everyone has a phone. Download the Game Nashville app. Listen.
I will be listening. I do not have ESPN Plus, so I will not be able to have eyes on the game.
I will have some eyes on the game, but I will have a lot of eyes on the baseball game.
Oh, is there a baseball game tonight?
I will have a lot of eyes on the baseball game.
No kidding. Is it a good one?
I think it's a good one.
Okay. Well, good. Maybe I might tune in.
I'm going to say this, though, about the ESPN Plus thing. At about 7:32 today, there's going to be a lot of people that didn't listen to this segment that are going to be like, where's the game? And there's going to be like a 20-minute blitz of what in the world do we do? The answer, by the way, again, is you can listen to the game right here for free. Download the TuneIn Radio app, the Game Nashville app. Use your radio 102.5. You got the game right there. I am not listening to any of this at any point throughout the rest of the season. I don't want to hear 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from the next ESPN Plus game, where's the game? We already went over this. This is a one-time thing that we're going to talk about, and then that's it.
I think that's fair. I think you've been warned.
What is going on in my headset? I feel like my head is a tomato that is about to explode right now.
Yeah, it just got very, very loud. And if there's one thing that I don't need at 5:45 p.m., it's your voice louder in my head.
I feel like I've
already been at it for 4 hours.
I feel like what I used to feel like when I would put my headphones into Darren McFarland's jack after he would leave, during when we'd be at the station.
And it's at volume 137.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. 615-737-1025. Caroline's is next. We got a baseball game. It's ESPN 1025, the game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies as we head into the evening hours for tonight. Temperatures expecting to be chilly for early Wednesday morning, dropping back to the low 40s. Upper 60s with sunshine on the way for Wednesday afternoon. I'm Fox 17 Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Football is here, Titans fans. With 5 locations throughout Middle Tennessee, it's easy to find the perfect corner pub to meet up with friends and family to cheer on your favorite team. Brunch it up this Sunday in Cool Springs and head downtown and watch the Titans on the 50-foot LED screen, where we'll be live on location with Jared and friends. Stop into any location for game day food and drink specials. Corner Pub, your local family-friendly sports bar, located in Brentwood, downtown Nashville, Bellevue, Cool Springs, and Franklin. The neighborhood meets at the corner.
Halloween is here, and that means scary low prices at Electronic Express. Save big on the best 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. Keep an eye on your kids and your home with smart security from Ring, Arlo, and Night Owl. Appliances are covered with up to 50% off, in stock, and ready to deliver with up to 36 months free financing. Get spooky low prices this Halloween at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Get the ultimate mouth guard with affordable coverage from Delta Dental of Tennessee. Offering a large network of dentists and a variety of plans, you'll get better coverage than a defensive secondary. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
We can see your smile, and we think you should be able to see it too. With Delta Dental of Tennessee and Delta Vision, we can improve your overall well-being by keeping your teeth and eyes healthy. Visit deltadentaltn.com to find an affordable plan.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, we are live at Bridgestone Arena. Preds and Sharks tonight, 7:30, ESPN Plus, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Caroline was asked a very important question on our phone lines presented by WilsonCountyHyundai.com about ESPN Plus tonight with the Preds game.
I was asked about ESPN Plus tonight with the Preds game. A texter texted in and asked if they can watch it at a bar.
The answer is?
Why don't you ask that bar?
The bar would know.
Yep.
We would not know.
I'm not a bartender.
Can I
you are
tell
more
you,
than
though-
welcome to ask them.
Can I tell you what is a pet peeve of mine, though?
You have a lot of those, but tell me which one this one is that you're talking
When
about.
you go to a sports bar, and there's a difference between a sports bar and a restaurant that has televisions.
For sure.
When you go to a sports bar that is a sports bar, and they don't have, and it's like, hey, let's take the Braves Astros tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get the Braves Astros on TV? What channel? Dude, it's a sports bar. It's what
You should
games
know.
are on. Oh my goodness!
And it's one
It
thing.
drives me insane.
It is one
It's
thing
like,
if
hey,
you're
can we get the Braves on? I'll have to ask my manager about that. They play 162 times. It's the same channel every time, except for tonight when it's ESPN Plus for this game. But
I would if you're hey, can I watch the Celtics Magic game? I don't know what channel that's on.
No, if I owned a sports bar, you worked at the sports bar, you would know.
But okay, but also this is the World Series. If anyone's asking hey, what channel is the Braves Astros game on tonight? Come on, it's the game one of the World Series.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. All right, speaking of game one of the World Series, I am going to games 3, 4, and 5.
Flex.
I do not think the Braves are going to win the World Series. Now,
why not?
Before the season, and I got the video so everybody can say whatever they want, I predicted that the Braves would win the World Series. Now, obviously for much different reasons than than why they would win the World Series
baseball
right now.
analytics.
Because I was they have Ronald Acuna Jr., he might be the best player in the sport, and now they don't have Ronald Acuna anymore. I just don't trust the Braves. You think I don't trust the Titans this week, but when it comes to the Braves, I never allow my hopes to get up. When they were up 3-1 last year against the Dodgers, and they lost in Game 7 of the NLCS, I sat there and said, okay. And I was mad literally for the rest of the night. I went to bed, woke up, totally fine. A couple years before that, I was in Columbus, Ohio, the women's Final Four. Louisville was playing, and they lost in overtime to Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
And Connecticut lost right after to Notre Dame, and we had beaten Notre Dame twice, including just thrashing them at our place. And I was sick the whole weekend because I was that was our national championship. That was
your window.
That was our championship. And I was just heartbroken. I have been heartbroken so many times in my life by the Atlanta Braves that even though I think the Braves got a really good shot, objectively speaking, I think they've got a good shot. Their pitching is better than the Astros. Now, the Astros have a better lineup, but their pitching top to bottom, I think, is better. Charlie Morton, Game 1 starter, was an Astros ace last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros ace, Lance McCullers Jr., he's out. They're starting guys that are not, premier starting pitchers. The Braves are going with, Charlie Morton, Max Fried, who the last 2 years has been a Cy Young candidate, and Ian Anderson, who's been just nails in the playoffs and was a 3rd overall pick of the draft. The Astros don't have that. And yet, I just can't trust the Braves. I just can't trust them. I can't trust them.
That's a heart pick.
And I can't trust them to get the big hit in the big moment. Or the, big situation where you're up 1-0 in the 8th inning, and I just can't trust them. But I say that. And I picked the Brewers to win that series, and they won. I picked the Dodgers to win that series, and the Braves won. So maybe I'm just so skeptical of all the heartbreak in my life that is the Atlanta Braves that it's very difficult for me. I've told people the 2021 World Series is the chokers versus the cheaters. And while I hope that the Braves would embarrass the Astros, just embarrass them, when you're up 16-3 in Game 4 and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
If the Braves do that, I would be in favor of them banging a trash can in the dugout. Like, I would be in favor of them just rub it right in their faces, because I think that's what the baseball world wants. But I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time visualizing them holding up the World Series trophy.
Would your mind be changed at all if Ronald Acuna Jr. never got hurt?
Yes. I went to one game this year in Miami on vacation. We went to the Marlins game, and Acuna tore his ACL.
So maybe you shouldn't go to these World Series games. I'm a
Maybe
little
I
bit
shouldn't.
nervous about your bad juju that you bring.
But I'm gonna go. But yes, if Acuna was in there, I would probably pick the Braves to win. I mean, I think Acuna is so good.
He is so good, and he is so clutch.
But I mean, my heart is gonna be popping today. I mean, just popping for this game. And now it's time for Caroline's.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com, mention promo code GAME, and get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. We've got a World Series game tonight. A little bit of a fun fact that I got from Sarah Lang's ESPN Baseball. Dansby Swanson and Alex Bregman, the top two picks in the 2015 MLB draft, will face off in the World Series. It will be the first World Series ever where the top two picks in the same draft face each other. So fun little fact there.
Dansby Swanson is batting 9th tonight.
Interesting.
So
pitcher hole.
There you go.
All right. Well, good for you, Dansby Swanson. But the Braves are throwing out Charlie Morton on the mound. As you mentioned, he is 14-6 with a 3.34 ERA in the regular season. So he actually played for Houston in their 2017 World Series run. He was the winning pitcher in the deciding Game 7 game of the 2017 World Series, working their final 4 innings of relief against the Dodgers. Astros throwing out lefty Framber Valdez, who's 11-6 with a 3.14 ERA in the regular season. So his last postseason outing against the Red Sox, he held them to 3 hits and only 1 run in 8 innings in Game 5 of the ALCS. So my pick tonight, it was tough because Charlie Morton has the postseason experience. Framber Valdez has the most impressive recent outing, but I'm going to take the momentum over the experience, and I'm going to take the Astros on the money line -135.
The Braves got some momentum.
Yeah, they do. I mean, obviously both teams have momentum. They're in the World Series.
I'm taking the Braves tonight. And I'm going to take him because I think Charlie Morton is a big game pitcher. You know, I mean, he is a big game pitcher. They gave him the ball in 2017, the Astros did, for Game 7. And he's the kind of guy who the Braves had lined it up. Now, they got a little lucky with how the Brewers series ended, but they lined it up to give Charlie Morton the ball in Game 7 against the Dodgers. They didn't get to a Game 7, but they wanted him with the ball in his hands. I think that this is the kind of guy that you enjoy handing the baseball to in this kind of game. And so I think Morton is going to give them 6+ today. And I think that's going to be a big thing going forward because neither team really has a deep rotation. The Braves got 3 guys and then who knows, whereas the Astros got 2 guys and then who knows. And I do think that, you know, not using the bullpen a lot is going to be a big key here. Yep. Tell us about BetUS.
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com. Use promo code GAME for a sign-up bonus on your first deposit.
Are you surprised that I picked the Braves after how I told you? I'm going to go Astros in 6, but the Braves win tonight.
I was not surprised that you picked the Braves because I think you're trying to speak it into existence.
It should be noted that in 1992, 1995, 1996, the Braves won Game 1, and in both 92 and 96, they did not win the World Series.
Well, that's an incredibly depressing stat.
That's it for us.
Braves fan.
That's it for us. Chase McCabe's next. He's sitting down with Chip Carey, Braves broadcaster. Get you set for that. Preds pregame starts at 6:30. The puck drops 7:30 right here. We'll see you. Still